Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, Season 2, Episode 27. We got a 4-pack for you guys today. Eric is out sick, and so is Darren. Darren might be out sick by choice, a little too much boozing. And Eric is just legitimately sick. So it is what it is. This is the crew we got today, and that's all right. We have some amazing topics to talk to you guys about, and we have a first-timer on the show. Let's just get to him right away. Flam, how's it going, man? Tell the people who you are. What do you got going on?
Yeah, of course. Hi, my name is Flam. I'm a Nintendo variety streamer. I like to do game shows and with a lot of people in like the Pokemon community. And I have a podcast myself called the Boost View Podcast. That we also talk about Nintendo stuff. I'm just, as it says right there, professional Nintendo simp. So that's my deal, man. I love Nintendo games. I'm excited to talk about them today.
Nice. We have returning back for the second time, Nish Quick Pops over there. And before he says anything, I noticed something when I was linking his channel today. He's like this close to 1,000 subscribers.
Yo,
I'm telling you right now,
39, I think.
Like if everyone here right now goes and subscribes, he's going to hit his first 1K. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Just drop the link in the chat. Let's get him to his first 1K.
Close. We're very close.
Let me follow this guy.
We're getting there.
Yeah, milestone.
But hello, hey guys, Nish Quick here. I'm back on the Nintendo Prime Podcast. Thank you so much for having me, Nate. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about Nintendo, and the topics look really fun today. And yes, we're very close to 1K. I can't believe it's happened so fast, but here we are. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And then we got someone who's well past 1K over there, Mr. Andres Restart, on his way to 30K.
Ooh.
Let's go. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Subscribe to Nish Quick Pops. Get him to 1,000. That I think that's the most important message.
It's a big goal. I mean, you should go subscribe to Flam as well. But I mean, technically, he's got over a K on his Twitch channel over there. So he's
I will say what's funny is I am very close to 1K, and I would love to hit it fast. But I have videos that I recorded audio for where I'm like, we're so close to 1K, and now I have to take all of it
I'm
out.
so sorry.
I mean, depending on when those videos come out, we'll see.
I'm sorry to say, surprise, you might hit it tonight.
We'll see. Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow you'll upload your first 1 million view video.
Yeah.
About the Switch 2 leaks or something.
Know.
I don't know.
You never know.
We never know.
You never know.
You have one of those things where it's like, guys, we're almost at, and it's like you have obviously you recorded it later, 2 million views, and now we're gonna do this. Yeah,
you can always do some fun editing, like you can be like, oh, I was gonna do this, but you guys are amazing, so I have to scratch it.
Yeah,
you can it.
Yeah,
nice. So we're gonna start the show like we start every single show with what have we been playing lately. I'll just go first. I never go first for some reason. I always go last. Let's go first for this time. Pretty much, it's been weird. So I played a bit of the Pikmin 4 demo. Didn't beat it. Why didn't I beat like a 2-3 hour demo? I don't know. I just didn't. The game's so close to coming out. I was already sold just playing it for an hour. I'm like, I'm good. Like I don't really want to keep going because I don't think the progress saves. So I'm gonna have to redo this anyways. Maybe it does. Does it? Does it?
Oh, it
okay.
does? Oh, fine.
If it saves, I will finish off the demo. If it doesn't, then I don't want to redo it. I
don't see the point in demos not carrying the progress over unless it's like a part in the middle of the game. Yeah,
a lot of them don't. So if it does carry forward, I guess I'll have to look it up. I will just finish off the demo.
I remember Metroid Dreads didn't. I think.
Nintendo hasn't been consistent with it. That's why I just assume it never does. So then I don't waste my time if I'm already having fun. I'm like, nope, I'll wait for the full game.
Yeah, we're back in the demo disc days where you'd be lucky to get a demo out and nothing would come over from your demo. And
so I played a bit of that, and then I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom still. Because I haven't beat the story. Here's the thing. I joined this dumb little crew of people called the Review Crew.
Ooh, that's exciting.
To review games of like Paul Gale Network, Rogers Base, and OJ Player Essence, and like. I don't even know what form this thing's really taken in the end. We haven't really gotten anything scheduled yet, but it sounds like Tears of the Kingdom might be like the first thing we review. And I'm like, can I really review the game if I haven't even beat the story? So I'm like, by the way, I could rush through and do that, but I'm like, I didn't want to rush through. I was planning to beat the story next year. Well, all right then. I guess I might just start powering through. I can't really complain.
How are you avoiding spoilers? Are you just muting
it's not
words?
That hard.
Yeah.
Why do people think it's so hard to avoid spoilers?
Well, I had a pretty good time avoiding spoilers for Tears of the Kingdom, honestly.
Yeah.
I have no blocked words.
Yeah, same.
Like I don't know. Like literally, I'm on the Tears of the Kingdom Reddit. All it is people's builds.
Interesting.
Like
it seems like it's
just builds.
done a good job.
Builds are everywhere. No one's putting the ending like anywhere in front of my face.
The images that have spoilers that I post, I spoiler tag on Twitter. So that's I mean, but like some text tweets.
Like I saw an image of Ganondorf and I was like, oh my gosh, Ganondorf's in the game. I already know. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, they showed multiple forms of Ganondorf in the memories. So it's not really. I mean, it's a spoiler for mid game, I guess, which is mid game could be the first hour to the first 80 hours, depending on how you play it. But there's only, I mean, there's okay. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is something there's multiple significant things that happen as you progress towards the end, but there's one very significant thing that happens that I think people have done a great job of not just blatantly showing it. And I got to tell you, this significant thing is what potentially puts it over the top for me for maybe like the best Zelda ending ever. It's absolutely in the conversation. It's absolutely in the conversation because of this significant thing. And what's crazy is that I believe what I'm saying too is obvious for those who know, but maybe you guys are thinking of something else is significant because there are multiple significant things. I thought but there's a really big thing
about something in the middle, but you were actually talking
about there's something in the middle that I know is really significant, but I don't know the end yet.
But there's a lot of there's a lot of big
I think cool things. The nice thing is if it is the game that we're doing first for Review Crew, I will not only will I have beaten the story, we'll be doing a spoiler cast sooner than I planned.
Oh yeah.
Which is totally fine. People, I've had a lot of requests to do a spoiler cast. Even IGN just recently did one. I think it's hitting that point where people are okay with having a spoiler cast. And obviously it'll be tagged for anyone who hasn't beat the game and doesn't want to be there, obviously. But it'll be so you know what? Look forward to that maybe by the end of July if we get this episode done in July. Because now I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm pretty sure everyone else in the crew has already beat the game except me. So I better, and I'm the Zelda guy. And it's like, because it only comes out like once every 6 years. I'm taking my time. I don't do reviews. Well, now I do reviews.
This is definitely one of those games. It's like you want to take your time with, right? Because it feels like it's so significant, and we've waited so long for it. So it's
maybe I'll get lucky, and we like Roger's base walks in, and he's like, "Dude, I want to do Pikmin 4 first," and I'm like, "Yes, yes, thank you."
So are you guys only doing new games, or are you guys doing some old Switch games as well?
So the idea is to do because it's only one review a month or one every other month, depending on how often we do it. So it's going to be like the biggest of the big games of whatever, and it could be on any platform. So like for me, it's cool if it's Pikmin 4 Tears again, but sometimes I'm glad it's not Final Fantasy 16. Like I really have no interest in completing that game at all. I've got thoughts on it. I've got thoughts. I know. And if Starfield is one, I'm like, oh, well, damn.
Hey, man, you got that Xbox symbol behind you on top of the console. Like,
I got a PlayStation 5 sitting right. I have a PlayStation 1 sign too somewhere. I don't know where it is. Gotta find it. What I don't have is a Nintendo sign. Well, that's not true. I have a light up Nintendo Prime sign, but it's on the other wall. So that doesn't count. I don't know. So we'll see. Some of what I play lately might be dictated by whatever's being reviewed, but gotta make sure I'm getting in the other games I want to. Who knows? Maybe I get lucky and we're all big Nintendo fans and Starfield comes out and we're like, no, we're doing Mario Wonder. Oh, thank God.
Because
it's like Starfield's gonna eat like 1,000 hours for me to feel comfortable reviewing that game.
Nate, I just read your subtitle.
Man. So it's funny. So my subtitle's got a mini story behind it. It's very short. Basically, all of last year I lost subs every single month until November. Then since then we've been exploding in subs. And then the last month we are negative 320. So we are back to our losing subways, and it's what I'm best at. So let's keep it up. And it's looking like tomorrow we're gonna drop below 132,000 subscribers. So we're well on our road to 150K. Let's do it.
Yeah, you're trending in the right direction. Don't worry. I
It'll
mean,
turn around when Mario comes
Dude,
out.
I mean,
news channels
yeah.
are really reliant on big releases. So
sure, yeah, it's cyclical. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, the fact of the matter is, you were like at what, like at 96 months ago?
I was stuck at 70K for over 2 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, then Zelda happened.
Yeah.
So big releases tend to drive subscribers. It is what it is. And when we say stuck on 132, it's going to be stuck on 131 in a moment. So I'm not really stuck.
So it's not really stuck.
I'm not really stuck.
No,
I'm just going the wrong direction.
It's just melt.
5 subscribers away from 133 at one point, and I thought we were going to hit it. And I'm like, yes, that's 133 years of Nintendo. Let's go.
Yeah.
And now it's just been going backwards ever since. So
I don't want to derail your podcast, but I actually didn't check the topic notes until right when we went live. The thing is, like, I'm a Nintendo.
I sent them late, by the way, so I didn't give you a lot of time.
But I mean, the point is, I'm gonna know the topics anyways, because I also make it my job to cover these things, right?
Sure.
So it's not really,
Did you glance and go, I don't know this topic?
No, everything is fine.
Okay.
But what I found interesting, because I was like, throughout the entire day, I was like getting kind of amped for this discussion, because like, all right, let's go, let's do it, because I thought we were just gonna go in on Switch 2.
I thought the
Switch
same.
2's
Yeah,
there?
that's
Switch 2's
exactly.
there?
Yeah,
I was
yep.
listening to
It's
last week's
at the bottom.
podcast
Bonus
It
topic.
is at the bottom.
in preparation.
It's at the bottom.
No.
It's more of a
Yeah.
so look, I thought Switch 2 was going to be a big topic myself as well. Then I sat there and I looked at all the stuff that I've covered over the last week with Switch 2. And in a nutshell, it's mostly a nothing burger. So I don't really feel like rehashing the conversation we just did last week.
Okay.
But it's there because I got a feeling that people are going to disagree that it's nothing burgers. So I want to throw it in there because I know like people like Andres is not going to let me get away with not talking about Switch 2.
Yeah, that's that.
So that's why I threw it in. I'm like, I got to put the
Yeah.
bonus topic in there. So let's not take 3 hours to get through each topic.
Sure.
Then we'll get to it.
I just feel compelled to make this point now. I'm not going to talk specifically about Switch 2, and maybe I'm giving you a bonus topic now. And again, I apologize for derailing the podcast, but that's what I do. That's what you invite.
Yeah,
me on.
and that's what that's why you're here.
Yeah.
I don't even need
but-
topics. Just bring Andres on.
And I thought about bringing it up because you were talking about losing subs, and what I found interesting, right? And I think this is kind of part of it. Kind of goes into this conversation. It just feels like with Switch 2, whenever we talk about it, it's like this hazardous thing. It seems to kind of bring out an increased level of toxicity you don't really see with other topics. And, I was surprised too, because I made a video about Switch 2 this Sunday because there were things that happened the prior week that I felt made it worth discussing. So I talked about it, and it actually was received pretty well for my channel, right? But then this week, there were a number of things that came up that I thought, okay, well, I should talk about this again. And it wasn't out of a lack of having other topics. I actually have a long list of things. And I was like, oh, I should probably focus on this first because it's more news related. And I'll put off my theory videos for a little bit later. Right. So I don't, whenever I talk about these things, I don't talk about them because I'm trying to like create fake content. No, sometimes I talk about it because, oh, I should probably focus on the news first. I think people will want me to talk about the news first. And that's why I did it. And, the video's doing, my video from yesterday is still doing relatively well, but I did notice more people were unsubscribing than usual. I gained more subscribers than I lost, but people were unsubscribing, and I was wondering why. Because all I did was talk about the things that people were talking about. I wasn't propagating misinformation. I just said it as things were. I know some will disagree, and some people will over agree, right? But it's just kind of interesting how, talking about Switch 2 is something that kind of brings out this extra level of hatred or toxic conversation. And for me, it's just, hey, look, there's things going on and we're going to talk about them.
I think for some people, it's just hearing Switch 2 over and over again, and it's gotten old. But at the same time, there are things happening, which you can't deny.
See, this is the way I look at it is, all of my Switch 2 videos have like a 98% like to dislike ratio.
Yeah.
So people like it. I don't worry.
Yeah.
I lose subscribers no matter what I talk about.
Mhm.
So it don't really, literally, 26,000 views Zelda video. You think I gained subs on that video? No, I did not. no matter what I post, it's just there's no hot trending topic at the moment. Switch 2, I guess you can argue, is sort of that hot trending topic, but it's not like you go out there and you look at other people's Switch 2 videos, like they're not getting crazy views either. It's just kind of people are wondering why that maybe I'm just missing the boat, and Pikmin 4 is what I should be just talking about. I've seen like couple like four YouTubers I've seen make any Pikmin 4 videos in the last week, and all of them have like 100K views. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm just making the wrong content.
But you might do it and you'll get like 1,000 just because you don't have the audience for it.
Yeah, I have the audience for Mario, so I know.
Yeah,
that should go well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you don't know until you try though. So
that's the thing. Get new audiences. You don't get it if you don't do it.
And sometimes you got to build it, right? Like just because you make one video doesn't mean
I got 3,500 views on a video about XR glasses. I think I can get views on Pikmin.
I will say earlier this year, my first Metroid video didn't do very well, and I was like, "Oh dang, I wanted to talk about Metroid." But my second Metroid video, which came out like a couple weeks back, did surprisingly well for my channel. So it's very random, and sometimes I guess it's like the trending thing and like what your audience wants right now. And like even with Switch 2 stuff, like I made a Switch 2 video, it came out today, and surprisingly, it's doing well. But at the same time, I'm getting relatively positive comments on it right now, so I hope that stays. I hope I didn't jinx it.
Yeah,
but that's also probably like
it's been jinxed.
Yeah, I probably just
you're done. Yeah. And you're gonna have to wait 2 more months before you get to 1,000 subscribers. You just lost 100.
Yeah, there it is.
They're all gone. Everybody in today is gone. No, on the Twitch side of things, I mean, I can say that like everybody's playing the Pikmin 4 demo right now. It's. I mean, a lot of the bigger one, you know, like Arlo and Beat 'em Ups and all that, they're all playing it. And I've seen a lot of people just in my sphere, even like the Pokemon sphere, trying Pikmin and trying either the old ones or playing the demo. I mean, myself, I bought both the ports, and that's what I've been up to. Is I've been playing Pikmin 1 and 2. I've been going back through those because it's been so long since I played them. But they're great. Yeah, I think Pikmin 4, if you had to pick a hot Nintendo game right now, that'd probably be it. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually started Pikmin 2 today. Finally,
nice.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Strap yourself in.
It's hard
because a lot of people play. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to play the whole series, and I'm going to go through and whatever." And they play Pikmin 1. They're like, "Wow, this was so pleasant and fun." And then they get into Pikmin 2, and it's just pain.
It's like hard mode.
So long. Yeah, it is a whole step up in difficulty.
That's interesting. Yeah, is the general consensus of Pikmin 4? The demo is that it's good, like it's a good game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so far it's been people are enjoying it a lot. So
okay, I've heard some people say that they're not a fan of some things, whereas other people are like, "Oh, this is game of the year. This is like the best Pikmin game as of now." So I don't know. It's interesting hearing as someone who hasn't played a single Pikmin game. It's interesting to see.
Yeah, the only complaint I've heard is that there's no timer, so you don't feel rushed.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, because the timer existed because we weren't supposed to be out at night. Now we're allowed to be out at night, so the reason for the timer is gone.
Yeah. I also know some people who aren't a fan of how the dog is implemented into the game, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Here's what I always say about people that are maybe nitpicky in a demo early. Look, I was nitpicky about Tears of the Kingdom's opening area. I didn't think it was even close to as good as Breath of the Wild's opening area. But guess what? Keep playing, and the game just explodes in awesomeness. So I'm like, this is an opening demo. Like, it's a tutorial. Oh, I don't like how the doggo works. How about you wait till you need the doggo to actually do something?
Yeah.
Like, this is just a demo. It's a slice. It's a small slice of the very beginning of the game. Like, you're not going to know.
First weekend was all nitpicking for me. I was like,
you got to get a bit more in. Like, get to the night mode, get to other things, and like, give it that 5-6 hours. And then if you still feel that way, all right, like, cool. But like, got to get out of the intro area before I think you can really determine anything with any game.
I don't think
some games have great starts, some games don't.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm a nitpicky person. Like for me, I think if there's one or two things that I'm like, oh, maybe they could have done that differently, it doesn't usually bother me that much. It's usually like, what's the overall package?
Yeah,
because like, I mean, like for example, Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like Tears of the Kingdom, I've noticed. I mean, first of all, I think the more popular a game is, the more likely you're going to see people complain about it because it's kind of like the trendy thing to do, right? But like, I see a lot of people make criticisms about Tears of the Kingdom, and it's not that they aren't valid, right? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But when I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom, I'm not thinking, I'm just going to complain about this game. No, I just want to gush about it because there's so many great things. Are there things that I, be like, oh, could it be done differently? Sure. But
the positives outweigh the negatives, or even like the minor downsides to me.
Yeah. So I usually just kind of think more about just how impressive it is, right? Like I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom, even though I beat the story. Like, I'm going for 100%. And, of course, I also analyze it for theory videos and things like that.
Yeah.
And, I might make a video on this at some point because it just kind of feels like a really good topic. But, like, I don't want to take Tears of the Kingdom for granted, if that makes any sense. Like, as I play the game, and also was playing Breath of the Wild recently, like, even though, like, they have the same maps to some extent, they feel very different. Like Breath of the Wild, in a way, I almost want to argue feels bigger. I know that may sound crazy, but hear me out. Breath of the Wild, your means of transportation are far less.
I
had a feeling you're going to say that. Yeah, because I played it like actually this weekend. Coincidentally, I just went back into it for a bit, and I didn't have this the forward tool-in sage ability. And I was like, oh well, this makes the game not harder, but it just makes it a little more.
Progression is slower
a little
paced.
more work to get to a place.
Yeah. Like I was in the Gerudo region and I saw the giant swords. It's like, oh, okay, ascend. Oh, I can't ascend. Oh, what do I? Oh, I still have Raleigh's Gale, which was like, oh, that's just. I remember loving Raleigh's Gale. I was like, oh, but Tulin's ability might be better, right? Like it's just kind of interesting seeing the differences.
So, speaking of ascend, I've been on and off playing Shin Megami Tensei 5, and someone here definitely knows that. Yeah, I'll get to that later. But like, there was a part in the game where I needed to go to like a higher level, and I was live streaming the game, and I was like, guys, there are times like this where I wish Ascend was in every game. But yeah.
It's crazy.
I guess we're just so spoiled with it now because we spent like so long in Tears of the Kingdom, and we're like, oh, we can ascend everything, and now we play like other open world games or other open-ended games, and we're like, oh dang, I wish I could ascend.
Yeah. But then you look at something like Pikmin. I think because Pikmin doesn't. It's not the same kind of game. When you play it, you're not like, oh, I'm going to ascend. But no, because the perspective is very different. And something else about Pikmin 4, just on the note of like nitpicking. Like I something I see, and I think I talked about this a few days ago on my podcast, but I saw some people talking about how there's you can notice pop-in Pikmin 4. And when I heard this conversation on Twitter, my first thought was, well, at least we can see the pop-in Pikmin 4. In prior games, you wouldn't see that kind of thing because the camera perspective was at the floor. Now you can see these beautiful environments off into the distance, like just beautiful vistas. So we have the opportunity to see pop-in, which, obviously pop-in's like a negative thing, but overall, Pikmin 4, from what I've seen, is a beautiful Switch game. And I'm really excited about it. I might try and do a graphics analysis, but those are kind of hard, so we'll see.
Yeah. Oh,
fidelity. Yeah, don't get me into that, right? But it's that's something you could easily patch out or patch. It's an easy fix in my opinion. So, but anyways,
So getting back to what we've been playing lately.
Oh, whoa!
We were way off.
That's what we were talking about.
I tried to
sort of went into it. Like just quick mention. Oh, I've played SMT5.
I mentioned mine's naturally. I've been playing Pikmin 2 and Tears of the Kingdom. So
I must say we've all kind of. I was talking about Pikmin. Yeah, we've all kind of.
It happened organically.
Yeah.
I will say I've also been playing a bit of Nier Automata on and off. It's Nier Automata and SMT5.
There you go.
Yeah. So half PlayStation 5, half Switch.
Nice.
And then I'm over here addicted to Riot's Valorant. That's like not Nintendo at all. It's my one like non-Nintendo whatever. I'm like, it's my addiction.
Change that Nintendo simp subtitle. That doesn't make any sense. You are a professional gaming.
Yeah.
So everyone gets one. Okay.
What's funny is some people ask me, they're like, hey, what's your guilty pleasure game, like Valorant or Fortnite? And you know what I said? I said Xenoblade. Any Xenoblade just running around. That's my guilty pleasure. If I just feel like playing something, I just put on Xenoblade.
Nintendo,
most likely it's X. So I can just fly and do whatever as in my skill. So
Natsu is asking if I have Everclear in this mug. I don't.
but
It's
he's wishing
water.
he did.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You wouldn't be drinking
Maybe
so
some
fast.
vodka. You know,
I gotta work in the morning, so
Like,
probably
yeah.
not.
Yeah,
I'll try
we're
to
still
hand
not
it through the
quite there.
screen.
If we're drinking, I'll go grab some. But
Oh, it is the day after my birthday, so I guess for super
Oh,
chats,
okay.
I will do
Yeah.
a shot for every super chat. I don't care tonight.
The party goes
I-
on.
the party
Happy
doesn't end.
belated.
It's my birthday week. Doesn't end.
Hell yeah.
That being said, I usually don't do shots on the podcast, but you know what, guys, I don't care. It's my birthday week. We're lucky we're having the
Hell yeah.
podcast.
Hell yeah.
Like, speaking of the podcast, topic one. Let's get to our first topic. It's a Zelda topic. I honestly wasn't going to have a Zelda topic this week. This was going to be the Switch 2 topic. But then, an interview had to come out, and Aonuma had to say something that seemed to upset quite a number of people, even though it was more so like doubling down on something he's already said in the past, where he basically said open air games are the future of what we're going to do. And people didn't want to believe him from a literal standpoint that that's what they're going to be doing moving forward. So in an interview in the Netherlands, he responded to a question about going back to the old formula. Like, would they consider going back to the old style games, your Majora's Mask, your Ocarina of Time, your Link to the Past style games, and making a new game like that again? Mm-hmm. And he said it's difficult to say anything about the future. That being said, thanks to previous Zelda games, a game like Tears of the Kingdom now exists. This game originated from the ideas we had in the past. We always tried to create something that offers more than the previous titles. In that respect, we really aren't concerned with the older games anymore. We only look to the future. Which many people took, and I understand, to mean they're not going to be making... It's pretty much a no. Like, to answer the question directly, it's like, no, we're not going to make old school Zelda games anymore. Which, again, this kind of just follows up something said before. We said open air is the future. Well, yeah, that's what they're making. The Zelda team is going to be... They're working on the next one right now. Like, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I see Andres over there smirking. So I'm going to let him start. What's going on in that crafty brain of yours over there?
Nate, I disagree.
There we go.
There it is.
They are currently developing Skyward Sword 2.
Yes!
I can only hope.
The most linear Zelda game of all time.
Unironically, such a Skyward Sword fan. I know it's such an oxymoron.
I like Skyward Sword. Like
I'm glad all four of us here love that game. It's actually in my top 5 Zelda games when other really big popular Zelda games are not in my top 5.
Yeah.
And I always like to say that because I think it gets too much hate. I think
the reason I lose subs is because Ocarina of Time is not in my top 5 Zelda games. Let's just be real. That's why I lose subs.
I will never forget the time that you forgot major
not even in my
plot
top
points
10.
of Ocarina of Time. I will never forget that day. It was like almost 2 years ago, but I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Nate, you could have just stayed.
I just guaranteed that I might go below 132 during this.
Like, can you just like okay, the top 5 thing is understandable. When you said the top 10 thing is where it becomes horrendous. Like top 5, okay. Like I think you can make a fair, reasonable argument.
I think you can make a fair, reasonable argument that it's not top 10. There are so many great Zelda games.
We are not going down this
There are so many great Zelda games.
Time is not top 10.
There are so many great Zelda games. All Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild did was move it even further down.
Of all time, not only just Zelda game.
Listen.
Yeah.
You can make good games. That's okay.
I mean, yeah, that's another discussion for another time. Though, but
yeah.
That being said, what do we think about this?
Right. Yeah,
so the freaking out on the end of classic, brand new. The emphasis is on brand new.
Yeah. I will
Remakes
say,
and remasters, they're clearly going to keep doing.
I will say, when Tears of the Kingdom released, Aonuma had an interview where he said that the older formula is limiting, and you kind of feel sad, like, oh, you don't want them to make a Zelda game where they can't be creative.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I personally want, and I've talked to other friends, I've talked to other Zelda fans, and what we want is a perfect blend of both. And Tears of the Kingdom came very close to doing that with the traditional dungeons, with a more impactful story, but I think it's still wanted to be the best form of open air Zelda with non-linearity and doing things out of order. But if there was some structure, if there was some linearity, especially to the narrative, because I've talked to some friends and I like the story. I like the things that happen in the story. I think how you do the story is a little wonky, personally to me. That's just how I feel. Because the second day I played the game, I saw a memory that I really didn't want to see. I didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
Like I felt like upset that I saw the memory. I was like, it didn't ruin the experience, but I was like, seriously, like this could have been done in a better way. And then
I saw someone die as one of the first memories.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay.
That was the one. I was like, I wanted to come to this location and do this thing, but I was also like, it was whatever. But another thing, I was talking to some friends about this today. Like, I like the dungeons. I like the new look. I like the music. I love the bosses. I love the bosses. Most of the bosses are fantastic. I think this terminal doing things out of order it's okay. It like none of these divine beasts or temples in Tears of the Kingdom come close to any of the Zelda dungeons that I love. And it kind of sucks because you think like, oh, what would a dungeon like Arbiter's Grounds or Stone Tower or Snow Peak Ruins or Ancient Cistern look like in a vast, gigantic open world Hyrule where you can like it. Like I think of like what's that? Elden Ring's Legacy Dungeon, Stormveil Castle, Raya Lucaria. I don't know if you guys have played Elden Ring. I know Andres hasn't, but
I've played it a ton. It's great.
Yeah, but like that's kind of what I was. It's not that I was expecting
that professional Nintendo Sim title really feels like it needs to be replaced.
All right. You can still be a Nintendo Zip and also play other games.
Hey, man, look at it. Look at all the stuff he's got in the back.
Does this not qualify?
The plushies, the Eevee, the Mario Cap. Yeah,
and 1,000 hours in Elden Ring.
I got a lot of time in Elden Ring as well, and I got like I got.
By the way, nothing wrong with Elden Ring. No shade. I don't believe in console wars, but I also don't call myself a professional Nintendo simp. So
you just have in your channel name Nintendo Prime.
Well, yeah, because that's what my channel does. We cover Nintendo. It doesn't mean I personally only play Nintendo.
Yeah.
What I do is I lose subs. That's why it's my game.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom.
But
regardless. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna go off of basically what I was saying. Like, it's not that I wanted the Tears of the Kingdom dungeons to be like Elden Ring Legacy dungeons, because I still think the puzzles and what you do in these Tears of the Kingdom dungeons are fun, versus some Elden Ring dungeons where just like find your way around here and fight enemies, which was still all right, but like the scope, I want the scope and I want that magnitude of those locations. Like, what do you feel about that? Having played Elden Ring.
So I think that is definitely one of the weaker points of Tears of the Kingdom is like, and also Breath of the Wild is those dungeons. I think they did a lot better job in Tears of the Kingdom, 100%, and it's still fun. In fact, I know a lot of people complained about let me think. I don't want to spoil anything. The Elden area temple. I'm not going to go into details of what it's like.
Oh yeah,
but I enjoyed that one a lot. In fact, I personally limited myself because some people were like, "Oh, I just flew around," and I was like, "Oh, well, that's kind of lame. You didn't do all the little puzzle things that it had for you." But
I thought it would have been very hard to fly around.
Oh no, a lot of people they got their little bike, little hover bike, and zipped around. I've saw so many people do that in the depths. It's great. But anyways, if you really want to say, I know the questions about classic Zelda formula, right? So we're talking Ocarina of Time to Skyward
Sword,
yeah. So I think seeing a new one of those, I'd probably not. It's probably not coming. But I mean, to be fair, if you really want to say classic, the Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are definitely a lot more in line with
Zelda 1.
Original Zelda.
Zelda 1 and Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, which, by the way, when am I going to get another Link Between Worlds or a port of that? That was such a good game.
I'm gonna call blasphemy on comparing it to a Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds.
Well, Link to the Past is the one that started the.
I see
what you mean by Link Between Worlds, because Link Between Worlds was the first one where like you can do things.
It was a bit more open, but the story was still pretty linear.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys this. It's no secret you guys are a little older than I am, but I will say I remember when Skyward Sword was
16.
I remember when Skyward Sword released. I remember like I got up early that morning for school and I went on IGN to see the review and I was like, oh, it's a 10 out of 10. And I was so hyped and so excited. But I will also remember, I will never forget the hate and the criticism, and people were like, this game, Nintendo releases this game the same year as Skyrim.
Man.
Like, what is going on? This game
Yeah.
is so old. This formula, the style is so old. And like, I remember that. And like,
The
now
sequelitis.
everyone wants it back, which is sure.
Well,
But-
everyone is
yeah.
very misleading.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. It's a vocal minority, is what it is.
A
Yeah,
very
yeah.
vocal minority.
Yeah.
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 I think it's a
And-
nostalgia goggles thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Because people want to.
Because I feel that
play
way
those
too
games.
sometimes. Yeah.
And I honestly think those would be remedied if we just got ports. And I think you would hear a lot less of those people if everything. If the GameCube games got
think
ported.
the ports will get rid of that. You know,
Really?
yeah, because here's the thing: we've been getting ports and remasters this whole time. We got Link's Awakening was completely remade. We got Skyward Sword HD. Sure,
Yeah,
Twilight
that's
Princess
true.
and Wind Waker aren't here, but they did those last gen, so maybe they're going to wait till the next system when they can do 4K or whatever, and maybe they'll continue to remake. Maybe Grezzel's working on is another top-down remake of, I don't know, maybe they're doing a Link to the Past, or maybe they're doing the Oracle games or something,
That would be great.
which would be sweet. But the interesting thing about all that is we got that stuff anyways, and they're still complaining. And why are they complaining? Because they're not new. They've already played them. They
Yeah.
want that. But what happened is, and this happened with Breath of the Wild, is it created a divide. You had some people that looked at it and said, this is so vastly different from what I love about Zelda, which is basically a dungeon crawler. That's what they love about Zelda. A dungeon crawler. 9, 12, big dungeons.
Mhm.
That's what they love. Linear story, big
Yeah.
dungeons. That's all they care. And they love the old formula. You got the dungeon item, you got the mini boss, you got the big key, the little key. They like that formula so
Yeah.
much. And Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, even with their dungeons, don't do that.
Yeah.
So they love that, and they hated what Breath of the Wild did, because this is a common thing you probably guys remember back in the Breath of the Wild days. It doesn't feel like a Zelda game.
Yeah.
That was a common thing stated on the internet. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like a Zelda game, which is ironic since it actually felt a ton like the original Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
But most people didn't grow up on the original Legend of Zelda that we're talking. They started with Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
And so that to them is what Zelda's always been. They, a lot of people I know that started in that late 90s, early 2000s, whenever they've gone back to play the original Legend of Zelda, usually they say, I hate it. Okay, well, yeah, then you're probably not going to be a huge fan of what Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are doing. The problem is that the Zelda team has been trying for a long time. They've said this in interviews. They've been wanting to crack the 10 million sales barrier, and they didn't really know how to do it. And they've talked about going back to open world for a while. The technology wasn't there for them to do it. Skyward Sword was supposed to be open world.
Mhm.
The technology wouldn't let them do exactly what they wanted. And so it actually, ironically, became one of the most linear Zelda games. And it's kind of weird how it went completely the opposite when they realized they couldn't do what they wanted to do.
But it paved the path for the future.
Yeah, like I think
True.
they wanted the sky to be completely open to go to drop down like they did in Tears of the Kingdom, but you just
Yep.
the tech just wouldn't let them do it at the time. And so because of that, we can't do that. Now it's going to be set paths, and we have a linear story, so you have to go to this place. Okay, now it's a super linear game. What's interesting is they did it with Breath of the Wild, 30 million plus. They did it with Tears of the Kingdom, probably at 20 million now. We haven't had a sales update in a bit, but it keeps topping sales charts. We have no idea. It's probably at least at 15 million.
Yeah.
And who knows?
Twilight Princess crossed 10 million, but that
Nope.
was GameCube
Nope.
and Wii combined, right?
Still
It
no.
did not.
Still no.
Still no. Yeah, the
No.
GameCube sales were actually pretty putrid.
For a dead console that sold 20 million.
And they only did one run. They only did one run of
Yeah.
the game.
So, I think because thanks to GameCube sales, it got to the 8 million-ish mark, approaching 9 maybe, but it was under 9 million.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just
Yeah.
shy of 9 million, 9.96.
So you look at what Zelda's doing, right? The 30 million. Who knows where Tears of the Kingdom is going to end? We have no idea. Is it going to be 20, 25? Is it going to get to 30? I'd have no idea. Because it all depends on how long Switch's life is. Are they going to do a remastered re-release on the next system, and then they're going to count those sales in? I have no idea how Nintendo's going to count sales for it. But the point is that it already, in 3 days, did something no other Zelda game's ever done. It sold 10 million copies in 3 days, which is the second Zelda game to ever cross 10 million ever in the
It did
history.
it in 3
Like,
days.
just combining the sales. I did this the other day. Combining the sales of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom together almost doubles the entire sales of the whole franchise that's almost 20 games deep. Like, let's just think, let that sink in for a moment. How much these games are so, they don't care about the old formula anymore. The old formula couldn't do this. It couldn't do this. It's
Mhm.
unfortunate,
Mhm.
but it couldn't do that. Like, well, of course they're going to focus on what sells.
Mhm.
So
They're a
I'm
business.
gonna come in and play devil's advocate
There it is.
somewhat.
Uh,
Right? This is actually
He
it's
came in
actually
joking. Now he's coming serious.
well, it's full circle. I'm coming back to my Skyward Sword point. Skyward Sword 2 isn't okay. I was kidding, but I actually brought it up just to kind of talk about how I felt like Skyward Sword. When you look at that game, when you play that game, especially played it back in the day, as you guys brought up earlier, it kind of screams there needs to be more open exploration, right? Like
Yeah.
you go down to Hyrule and you're like, man, I really wish I could find you wanted
By the way,
you wanted to go between the
I
provinces.
don't.
and you couldn't.
I just want to get this in quick before I forget, because we have our sales extraordinaire Paul Gale Network in the chat, and he's really dialed in on sales. He's got a lot of connections with Nintendo when it comes to sales data, and he said that Tears of the Kingdom is at 15% of the total Switch install base right now. That would put it at 18,750,000 units sold right now.
Approaching 20, baby. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
All right, that's it. I just want to get
Yeah.
that in before I forgot about it.
yeah, so I mean, you look at Skyward Sword, that was the most linear Zelda ever, and there are things about it that really made people feel like it needed to be go open, so they went open, and they became the best-selling Zeldas. But I do think that this idea of what the direction they're going being the only way they can get to those numbers is maybe a bit of a fallacy, because it's Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom sales aren't just because they went open air. It's a big part of it, but there is a Switch effect, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there are more core gamers buying games on Switch than there were on Wii. So, if Twilight Princess came out as a new game today, it would probably sell more than 8 million. I believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't.
But
think
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
think,
mean-
having an install base like that obviously will boost your numbers, but I think I'm on Nate's side with this one, where it's like I just don't think it may do numbers. It may cross that 10 million threshold if they do it in the old format, but I just don't really think people are hungry for that. Like enough people are hungry, for that new format or the old format.
I don't think any of
Because
us actually disagree about, for the record, right? Like I hope.
Yeah, you're just playing devil's advocate. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Skyward
think Twilight
Sword didn't
Princess
hit
was well,
Skyward Sword HD, I mean.
so
Yeah.
Twilight
Yeah.
Princess, which is the most popular game in the old formula,
Mhm.
like if it came out brand new today, I still don't think it would do those kind of, like, let's just pretend Breath of the Wild never happened, so it never created a different expectation. So we're still expecting that old formula. Yeah, okay, maybe we cross 10 million with the Switch effect. We're not getting 30 million. It's just not happening. Like there's a limitation to the appeal of that style of game, and it's kind of it's interesting to think, because Zelda, when you're talking about a series that sells 4 million, could sell 8 million at the top end. Well, how does that feel limiting? Well, because we see Mario games in the past doing 20, 30, 40 million, 60 million back on the NES. Like we've seen other, Pokemon do 20, 30 million. We see other Nintendo IPs, even Animal Crossing New Leaf, pop off at 12, 13, 14 million on the 3DS. Like we have seen other Nintendo IPs smash through the 10 million barrier, no problem. And Zelda they've had 17, 18 cracks at this and they couldn't do it. I don't know that, the Switch effect has created this thing where for some reason, games on Switch sell more copies per release than they did on 3DS, which sold 150 million units, and they did on Wii, which sold 100 plus million units. Sort of. It depends on the genre. Wii Sports Resort did a little bit better than Ring Fit Adventure did, building off of the original Wii Sports. But in general, like the core IPs from Nintendo, I mean, just look at Mario Odyssey. There isn't a 3D Mario game that comes close to those sales numbers.
Such a massive W.
That's another one that
Yep.
Oh man, look what that did compared to prior 3D Marios. It's doing 2D side-scrolling Mario numbers. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. But I'm gonna come in to defend the traditional Zelda purists. Traditional in quotes, because I agree. Traditional Zelda is Zelda 1, and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are more true to that. Ocarina, A Link to the Past.
A Link to the Past onward
era, an Ocarina of Time, right?
Yeah.
I actually, everything Nishquick said earlier about Tears of the Kingdom, I'm in full agreement with, right? I think Tears of the Kingdom did a great job of trying to bring in some of those prior Zelda tropes. The Zeldas are, the dungeons are better themed, right? They have more unique themes. The music overall in the game, I think, is an improvement over Breath of the Wild. There's
I have something to say about
stick
that.
out. The bosses are amazing, right? And there are more linear story elements. But I also agree. I think the dungeons, while I enjoyed them, I think there is room for improvement. And I think there is room for improvement with the story as well. Like, I agree with those points. And so ultimately what I'm trying to say here is that when you go back to that interview that kind of inspired this discussion, right? I don't think the quote says, "Hey, we're never going to give you that traditional experience." In a way, it does, because they're always pushing forward to do something new. But it isn't. I think what I'm trying to get at here is that he wasn't saying that everything about the prior games is bad. It's just they're always going to be trying to make something bigger and better.
Yeah, and they'll sprinkle in some of the old stuff in there too.
Sure, there's going to be a time where the formula for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are also going to be dated.
Yeah,
and they're going to find something that's even better.
It's so hard to imagine right now since we're in the beginning of that format.
I know, right?
Well,
like, I'm gonna be like 70, and then they're finally, it's old now, guys.
Well, when I say that, I think the games will probably still be open air, but there'll be other elements of it that will evolve in other ways, right? Like maybe they find a better way to tell the story.
The story is the one thing I'm interested in for the future games. Like, they went with, again, finding memories again, which is fine, and it was definitely the way they handled it was better than in Breath of the Wild. But it's sort of like, okay, but if is that the only idea you guys really have on how to have a completely open game with the story? Like, look at there's other open world. I know he said in the same interview, we don't look at other games. There are times there's other open world games that don't fragment the story like this so much.
Oh yeah,
you can find a way to have a more linear story while being completely open.
I will say, when it comes
to that, I think they are inspired by other games.
Yeah,
but once they start development in earnest, that's when it becomes the bubble. So there is the bubble.
They try not to think about it.
It's not that he's lying.
No, because they've cited Skyrim for Breath of the Wild.
I think subconsciously, this is the thing too. It's impossible to say other games don't inspire them, because subconsciously, you might not have been thinking about it at that time, but this idea you came up with might have been based on something you played 10 years ago.
We stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yep.
Yeah, and what that means for those who aren't familiar with the quote, it just means that it's usually based for like science, but it's kind of like, as a community, as a people, right? We're continually building new concepts and ideas, and we learn from the past, and we don't start from scratch. We build upon it. So all the ideas.
Challenge for them is, hey, you did two games in a row where most of the story happened in the past. Let's have it happen in the present, and what do you come up to make that work?
Yeah.
I mean, Tears of the Kingdom was more present than Breath
it was
of the
more.
Wild.
There were multiple main story arcs. Some of them that took place in the present,
especially near the end of the
fundamentally
game,
did better.
Way more present.
Like the core main one, a huge chunk of it's in the past. I'm trying not to spoil anything on why it's. There's a good. They gave us a very good reason for why it was in the past this time. Like, cool.
Actually, I didn't mind the past stuff because the past stuff was still present.
Yeah. You find that out as you go. But
and the memories themselves are just better.
It felt like an excuse to me though to keep doing the memory thing, and it's like,
yeah. I will say Nintendo always works so close with Monolith Soft, because like Monolith Soft does like the world design of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. They do Animal Crossing and Splatoon and all that,
now
right?
Monolith Soft is Nintendo, so
they are, and they also do Xenoblade, and I always bring up Xenoblade because I'm also a huge Xenoblade fan. But the thing is, Xenoblade, I like to call them open world games because they have giant open worlds, but they also have very linear stories. And the thing is, the structure of a Xenoblade game is not the same as a Zelda game. But I would like them to take some inspiration from like their own team, Monolith Soft.
Yeah.
Like Xenoblade stories, again, are not the same as Zelda's stories, but I think they're most of the time more impactful in storytelling, in story moments, emotional like beats and all that. And I think the biggest thing is the music. And like Breath of the Wild, I defended the music a lot because I actually like
it made sense for what they were doing.
I can't imagine Hyrule Field's theme blaring when you're in the open world. I think that it just feels very jarring and off-putting to me. I will say, a lot of I didn't watch too many reviews for Tears of the Kingdom, but a lot of them said the music was an improvement. I don't agree with that at all. I think the music felt a little bit disappointing to me outside of the boss themes. Outside of
Okay,
the
I was
boss
about to
themes,
Yeah,
I
boss
didn't really care.
I
And
was
that was
about to
also
say,
me
well,
coming from Xenoblade. Like
Yeah.
Xenoblade has spoiled me with some of my favorite video game soundtracks I've ever listened to. And I was like, Zelda had this. Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, one of my favorite video game soundtracks.
Sure.
So like I
So-
want the Tears of the Kingdom trailer music in some parts of the game, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I imagine that I imagine this conversation you just had right now, which I agree with a lot of the things you said, but that you just gave this nice speech about all these things that you should be inspired by, Monolith Software and all this, and you're
Yeah.
talking directly to Eiji Aonuma, and he just goes, what, oh, Xenoblade, glances at the charts, didn't sell 2 million. All right, well, don't know that we're going to be inspired by that
The
one.
salt. Yeah.
Like he won't maybe be that mean to you, but he'd just be like, I think we're doing pretty good over here. We're just gonna keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
you wanna have
I don't want no
Th-
more
this
memories.
is just
Guess
me
what?
as
There'll be
a-
a third one and there'll be
Yeah.
memories again, and I'll
Yeah.
probably love it, and it might
Yeah.
become my new favorite game of all time. But here's the thing:
Yeah.
the complaints are, oh no, memories again. Also, people talk about how weak the story. I'm sorry, I thought the story really wasn't that weak in Breath of the Wild. I've played the entire Zelda franchise. The stories are pretty much
think Breath of the Wild
same in like every
has-
single
Yeah.
Zelda game except for like 3 of them. So I
wanna
know that's
know
like
what Flam
controversial,
thinks
but
about
it's
this.
just the same story
Yeah.
beats in all the Zelda games.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild was a breath of fresh air with the story a little bit,
Yeah.
but it was all in the past. Tears of the Kingdom has present and past, but it kind of melds it, which I loved. And honestly, go watch just all the cutscenes in the game
Yeah.
Yep.
in a movie format. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
You watch it. I stop at a certain point because there's some I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
But it's like, nah, man, dude, this story's this is epic.
Powerful.
Like, what do we?
It's a powerful
Story's
story.
weak. It only maybe feels weak because the world is so big that
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like there's enough story for the size of the world. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There outside of
Yeah.
like Skyward Sword, there's not many. Like I look at A Link to the Past and I don't go, man, that story is so much more complex than this. No,
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's
What are we
still
talking
Ganon
about?
bad, right?
I personally think that Breath of the Wild has a better story than a game like Elden Ring. I don't know what you think about that, Flam, because like Elden Ring, I got to the end of the game and I still didn't
they're
get
so
what was
different.
happening.
I think,
Because
but I
the
see
thing
that
is, both of them
FromSoft
have
always-
stories that take place in the past. Elden Ring, most of the events happen in the past. Same
Yeah.
with Breath of the Wild. That's why I compare the stories. and
The
narratives.
approach that FromSoft has always taken, though, this is in all. I've played all the Souls games, so except
Yeah,
for 2.
yeah. Oh, you don't need to play 2.
It's more of like
Nice
not a real
professional
hinted at.
Nintendo
It's
simp
like
over there.
sprinkled about. I know. This is as a first impression. Listen, if we talk about Pokemon or we talk about literally everything else. I mean, I'm talking about Zelda. I can do that too. But
I think
got you,
Souls
don't
games
worry.
are actually very Nintendo-esque.
yeah, no.
In
A
some
lot of people
ways.
feel like they're what
In some
Zelda
ways.
could have been if they
They're
were.
Yeah.
they're like a
and
merger of Zelda and Metroid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a fantastic way to explain it. No, the way they sprinkle in the story, for them, it's more of they reference it rather than
yeah.
like in this one, it's like you're watching it happen. You get
Yeah.
to see those actions happen, but you don't
From
see
Software's environmental
Melania
storytelling as
and
well.
what's his name on the horse like fight each other. Like it's
Rykard.
not a cut. Yeah,
Rykard,
Rykard.
yeah.
You don't see
Oh,
that.
sorry, Radon, sorry.
Radon, that's it. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Radon.
You don't see that ever happen. It's reference. It's like, oh, this happened in the past, but it's not that it's not relevant, but it's technically not relevant to what's happening in front of you because your quest is I'm trying to become the Elden Lord.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is how these people got here, but it's not affecting me directly. So
Yeah,
I don't know. But that's always been like the FromSoft method is
Yeah.
it's like referenced and if you want to look into that lore you can, and it's nice to dive into it when you can listen to
like
3-hour long
Yeah.
videos on YouTube
Even
that are great.
Bloodborne, like I played Bloodborne a couple years back, and it's my preferred From Software game even
It's
more than
good.
Elden Ring because
Yeah.
I just really like that game. But there was a part in the game you beat a boss and then you like touch this like thing and then it gives you a flashback, and I'm like, I didn't understand what happened, but I just want to
Yeah.
fight the next boss.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's a very different kind of experience.
So, is this the end of classic Zelda?
I think
No.
I think for the foreseeable, maybe until the end of the Switch at the very least.
Well,
Even if
that's probably not much longer.
Yeah. Well, I have an argument
So
about
like maybe another year or so.
I think I guess this is off topic and we could get into more when we talk about the Switch part, but I think the next Switch 2 is going to be more akin to like a 3DS upgrade rather than a brand new you can't play, because the install base on the Switch is so freaking huge and it's made them so much money. There's no way Nintendo gives that up already, you know?
I mean, I think we all agree. I mean, I think we all everyone on this panel thinks it's going to be backwards compatible, so you know.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, that's just my little
I want to ask you guys, when do you think the next mainline Legend of Zelda game with the Legend of Zelda title will release? Because
not a remake or remaster.
Yeah.
No, because it could I don't think the next mainline Zelda game is going to be the open world style. I think it's going to be like a smaller
2028.
scale.
Yeah, I'd be like 2030. I could even see 2030, dude. Like
I tell people 2030 for like the next open air one, but I can see them doing like a 2D 2.5D kind of Zelda experience.
With like Cadence of Hyrule. That was a fun little drop they did a while ago. Cadence of Hyrule. Did you ever play that one? That's all.
Yeah, that was like a spin-off with rhythm.
Yeah, that was an indie studio.
Yeah, so
you could see stuff like that happen maybe.
I want to see something which builds off of Link Between Worlds as like non-linearity but still linear story, and it's got that 2D Zelda nostalgia feel to it.
So I originally thought that we might still get top-down Zeldas, sort of in that old formula as like a between the big ones. Never really happened. Then you go, oh, they did Link's Awakening. Okay, well, if that's what they're doing, then maybe the next time around will be that. And Link's Awakening was Grezzo, and I kept thinking, well, Grezzo did Triforce Heroes. They helped out, with the other Zelda games as well. And you know what? Maybe Nintendo's main Zelda team won't do it anymore, as this suggests. Oh, AJ Nomo, hey, we're always looking to the future. We're just going to, and by the way, these are like 200, 300 person teams are using on Zelda. They ain't got the spare guys in the Zelda team to really try to do the two Zelda games like they used to. They combined the teams up with Breath of the Wild, and they ain't looking back. So I don't think that they're thinking of splitting off part of the Zelda team to make that. So I kept going, well, they have Grezzo. Grezzo's the obvious choice. You go with them. They've worked on a lot of Zelda games. You just give them a director from your Zelda team and let Grezzo, make those top-down Zeldas. And maybe that's still going to be a thing that we don't know. Like, this is the future. We don't know. But I look at it as, I don't think that they think it's worth investing in that versus how much cheaper it is to just remake something they've already done. Then they don't have to have a member from their Zelda team go over there and direct. They could just have Grezzo keep doing Link's Awakening. They can do a Link to the Past. They can redo a Link Between Worlds at some point. They can do Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons pretty much on their own. And it'd be a lot cheaper for Nintendo to do that and pretty much see the exact same sales that they see anyways. So I know Andres is going to explain how they're not done with it and going to go into his devil's advocate on it. But I just kind of take this as, look, when you're selling 30 million, we just talked about 18, almost 19 million copies of Tears of the Kingdom sold. Yeah, there's a potential it sells 30 million in the first year. I don't know if it'll pull it off, but the potential is there. We haven't even hit the holidays with a Mario game coming out that's going to potentially boost Zelda sales. It happens every time there's a big game coming out. Breath of the Wild jumps back in the top 10. Tears of the Kingdom might still be in the top 10 when Mario comes out at this rate. Yeah. So I look at it as there is a possibility that we're seeing two Zelda games back-to-back sell 30 million. I don't think they give two shits about the old formula anymore. They're just going steam, all hands on deck. They're going to try to get the next big open world game out. I think they're probably, this would even support it more. If we never get DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, it's because they're trying to get this next one out within like 4 years, which I don't know how they can do that. But that might be an internal goal of theirs that, hey, we don't want to wait 6 years. We want to try to get a quick turnaround so we're out within the first 2 years of the next platform.
Yeah, that's what we thought for Breath of the Wild too, and look how that turned out.
Well, yeah, but again, here's the caveat with both games. Breath of the Wild potentially was done in 2015, but delayed because the platform sucked. So they were waiting for Switch. And then this game, they already told us flat out it was done last year. They just gave it a year of polish because they knew they could. They didn't need. Did they have to do a year of polish? They could have did 6 months, but they didn't need to rush it out. Switch is doing just fine. It wasn't like a dire situation like, oh man, we got nothing to sell Switches this year. No, Switch sold great last year. So they and honestly, based on the way things are looking this year, this was the right year to release it because it is the game carrying Switch sales right now. So
it's the game carrying.
Clearly it was a good idea to release it this year. And I guess tag team it with Mario in the holidays. But I kind of just look at it as I think they're all hands on deck. When you're selling that many units, they're not worried about the old games. They're not worried that there's larger gaps because they're going to fill those gaps with remakes and remasters that still sell exactly the same as the new games in the old formula sold anyways. You know, like when they drop Twilight Princess 4K, I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up selling 8 million like the old one did. It wouldn't even surprise me. And it'd be way cheaper for them to do. So I just kind of look at it as they're going to get the same sales anyways off less money. So why wouldn't they just do that and just keep investing everything into the big ones that sell 30 million now? Now, granted, we don't know what's going to happen when they're trying to sell on a new platform.
Yeah.
But it could be one of those games that drives the sales of a new platform because I think Zelda has proven now multiple console launches that it in that of itself is a system mover. Okay. Wii Sports combined with Twilight Princess really helped push Wii that first year. Just the first year. I'm only giving the first year with Twilight Princess because it only did 8 million or 7 million or so on Wii, but it made the hardcore fans want Wii, while Wii Sports made the casuals want it, and it was a nice match at launch. Then you obviously saw what Breath of the Wild helped do, combined with obviously the rest of the games that came out in year one in 2017. So Zelda's proven it's a system seller on its own. So as long as the system that you have out isn't garbage and people are already interested in it, it's going to move units. People might buy it to play it. It's I'll put it this way. The last 2 Zelda games have the potential, we don't know because it hasn't happened yet, to both be Game of the Years. So now if every Zelda release is considered an event, that in that of itself, people will just buy systems to play it.
Yeah.
So that's what I think they're aiming for Zelda to be moving forward. It is the system mover. Oh, we only sold 10 million of X at this time. Guess what? You'll sell 20 million more because this game's on the platform. And I think that's what Zelda's sort of become at this point, assuming that they keep up with each Zelda game feels like an event. But again, we're predicting the future. We don't know the future. It sounds. I'll say this: I don't think Eiji Anomu's making any of these old school games anymore. It'll be somebody else if it happens.
Do you guys think Fujibayashi is gonna eventually step up and be the new Aonuma? I think it'll eventually happen, and I think once that happens, I think the games will start to feel very different, but they will start to feel more like what we're getting now. If that makes sense.
They'll feel different, but like we're getting now.
Yeah, no, it'll
the
distance itself
different
from
but the same.
The past Zelda games more. That's what I meant to say.
I don't know about that. He's the primary mind behind these two games.
Yeah, he's the Capcom.
Fujibayashi
he's
is the guy behind modern.
Yeah, like
Zelda.
he's the guy behind.
Aonuma's just there to make sure that Ganon's still bad and the rest of the story.
One of the first games he directed. One of the first games he directed was Skyward Sword, and when did the talks of open worlds?
Too,
yeah, he did.
Right?
Yeah. But when they brought him into Nintendo, one of the first things he did once he worked for Nintendo directly was Skyward Sword, and it's funny because in every interview back then he talked about how he wanted Skyward Sword to be open world. Like this whole movement is him. He wanted this to happen. Yeah. And now it's here and it's blown up. It's almost like he just knew in his mind, if I could just do what I want, Zelda's going to be massive. Yeah. And it is. So I don't think I think it actually gets more like we're going open. Like people forget Eiji Aonuma, that people got mad at him over this quote. He's like, look, he's the guy at the top. He's gonna get all the credit and all the blame. That's what happens when you're at the top. And look, if you want to be, he's pretty much, hey, if you want to be mad, we're not going back. Be mad at me. Don't be mad at the guy who actually made us not go back. Because hey, I was there. I directed Majora's Mask. You remember that? I directed this. I was there for this. Oh, you love Twilight Princess? Yeah, that was me. Like so he's like, I was doing the old school games, and guess what? Dude, this guy's better than me. So what's interesting though,
sort of a transition point, right?
I do think. And this is kind of off topic, but I do think that this next big one that comes out, I am wondering if it's going to be the last one that Aonuma is the producer on. He brought up that he's not sure as he gets old. He's in his 60s now. Like he's not sure if he can keep putting in the hours he's doing.
I
mean, he's
honestly
at the
thought that
retirement age.
I thought this would be his last one, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and he
if
said it's
for
not. He's
better or
so he's
worse
going to
that
be
it
on
is
for
or
the
isn't,
next
but
one.
yeah.
Him and
I'm
Sakurai.
glad he's
But I
coming
think-
back for the next one. If he
I
does.
kind of think this next one though might be like a transitionary. Like he's going to try to show Fubayashi the ropes of what it means to be in his position
While Fujibayashi,
while he's still directing. Yeah.
But meanwhile, Fujibayashi will be training up his next director.
Yeah.
too, like-
Whoever and we don't know who that
The
next
next
guy.
By
is
the
yet.
way,
Yeah.
Miyamoto did this with
Aonuma. It was the same
Right,
thing.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what's his name? I keep forgetting.
Takahashi?
Koizumi was
Koizumi,
like the Mario
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And like it's funny because both of them worked on Majora's Mask, Koizumi and Aonuma. And then Koizumi went like he got the blessing to go into Mario, and then Aonuma got the blessing to go into Zelda. So
I mean that's how you do a proper transition. Then it doesn't ever feel like you miss a beat.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, the thing is, we all here in this panel, we understand Zelda in different ways, right? But we understand Zelda is the point, right? Everyone has a slightly different taste or opinion. But the point is that I think Nintendo has this philosophy, right? And as long as they maintain this philosophy, and they will, they're going to continue to hire talent that's going to bring in their own creative input. But there is just going to be this cohesion. The way they've been developing both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they have this new kind of like design philosophy where they do it all in a bubble and go back and forth. I don't know what you guys are laughing about.
I just realized that I forgot I said I do shots for every super chat. We've just had 3 super chats, and I'm just ignoring.
You got some work to do.
I got some work to do. I got to catch up.
I thought you were drinking because he was playing devil's advocate. You're like,
Nope,
"God damn it, here he
nope.
goes again."
Yep, here he goes again.
I haven't
Hold
even gotten
on.
to that point. All I'm saying is I don't think we have anything to worry about when it comes to Zelda feeling like Zelda or Mario feeling like Mario. I think Nintendo understands what they have to do to keep their games feeling the way they should. And obviously some people are going to disagree. Like we have a lot of Zelda purists, right? Or League to the Past, Ocarina of Time purists that don't like the direction, but most people are okay with it. And the overall point is that Nintendo has a good philosophy with training up talent, bringing in more people, and slowly, moving forward, right? Like, so I'm not really worried about that. But I do want to kind of speak on to kind of maybe just finish up my thoughts on this topic, which kind of segue into the next topic. But
segue.
Yeah, I think that Nintendo does care about other franchises. I don't think sales are obviously important. This is a business, right? And there's no disagreement there. And there's no disagreement that Open Air Zelda is absolutely Nintendo's focus. It's probably going to be Nintendo's biggest thing. There's no denying any of that. But also, Nintendo has other projects that don't sell as much. Xenoblade is a thing. Pikmin's a thing. Metroid's a thing, right? And all these series sell 2 to 3 million. Fire Emblem is a thing. These are
Fire Emblem is
series.
breaking past that a bit. I think Three Houses was.
Sure.
I mean, Three Houses also had the kind of
sort of
Persona
awakening.
elements in there as well. Which
but it's still the same point though.
Yeah,
right? Nintendo
not
has a
10
lot
million
of
plus. Yeah.
Nintendo has a lot of franchises that don't necessarily sell 10, 15, 20 million, but they will continue to do them. We just got Advance Wars remakes. Like so there's like this interview that came out from Video Games Chronicle with an ex-Nintendo dev, and people are taking this to me that F-Zero is never going to happen. First off, some of us believe very full-heartedly that F-Zero GX remasters are right around the corner. It just hasn't been announced yet.
I think
it's a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt, but
I think that reasoning for what he gave for F-Zero not coming back is a little sad. They're like, oh, Mario Kart exists. Oh, F-Zero won't sell, and we don't have new ideas, then we just won't do it. And so, it doesn't sound like Nintendo to me,
Listen, I mean, if they put a different spin on it, I can see what he's saying. Like, if you just released it as it was, and it was just a racing game, then they would need to be doing something different with it. I can see, like, they need to put a spin on it, because I mean, that's with any kind of form of content, right? You get the old yoink and twist, right?
It's not that he's
copy
wrong,
and
though.
change it up.
Yeah. I mean, sales are always a part of the equation.
Yeah.
Projects have to be greenlit. Is this lucrative? But the point is that not every game is going to be a 20 million seller.
Yeah,
there are going to be some games that are going to have a more niche audience. Nintendo releases games all throughout the year for different audiences for all varieties.
Yep.
And when I talk about this, right? Yes, this kind of takes us into the next topic, but also I'm bringing it back to the whole Zelda scenario, because there is room for other Zeldas. The same way there's room for a Metroid Dread, the same way there's room for an Advance Wars remake that may not even sell 1 million. There's room to go back to a 2D Zelda. Here's another example. Mario Bros. Wonder, big freaking deal. It may be the best-selling Nintendo game this year, if not, maybe the second, right? And there's a lot of people before this game was announced that were thinking we may never see 2D Mario again.
Those people were idiots.
Well, I think you can make a
2D Mario is always outsold 3D. Yeah. It's stupid.
It has.
Of course, they were going to go back to it. Come on.
But anyway, the point, I understand what you're saying, but you can make a similar argument for Zelda. And no, I understand 2D Zelda doesn't sell like 3D Zelda, but that doesn't mean it doesn't sell. Link's Awakening Remake sold incredibly well for what it was. It outsold Skyward Sword.
Yeah, but Skyward Sword sold like shit.
Sure. I mean,
it was like 3 times the Wii version.
I'm talking about the Switch version.
Look, we talk about the Switch effect. Link's Awakening was the opposite of the Switch effect because Link's Awakening just sold like the original did. It didn't outsell the original Link's Awakening.
Well, I mean, a handful of million.
The original sold 4.5 million. This one sold a little over 4. So the Switch effect didn't do anything to it. It kind of proved that the interest level in those kind of games hasn't really gone.
I think you're ignoring the part that it's a remake. Remakes in general don't sell as good as their originals. So the fact that it sold comparable, I think, is actually says a lot.
Skyward Sword, I know, was like 3 times as much as it sold.
When don't remakes sell as good? I'm really confused. The good remakes sometimes outsell the original.
Mario RPG will probably outsell.
Dude, yeah, Mario RPG will probably blow
that. Like, I was listening to last week's podcast this morning,
but there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables.
Possible like 10+ million for Mario RPG, which would greenlight a sequel. So
speaking of friggin' dead franchises, they got brought back to life. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, that's another example, though, right? Like Nintendo. So I think we just have to be patient. If 2D Zelda does sell a few million, Nintendo will make a game that can sell a few million. It may not happen every year or every 2 or 3 years. It may be 5 or 6 years or longer, maybe 7 or 8. Look at Mario Bros. Wonder. But I think eventually we will see another 2D Zelda. And when it comes to traditional Zelda, I think the ultimate point is that mainline Zelda is always going to be evolving. But I do think the door is open for maybe like an RPG.
I want to throw this out here, and not to disagree with you because I disagree, but it's okay. Can we stop calling it 2D Zelda? Just like we need to stop calling it 2D Mario. It's side-scrolling Mario and top-down Zelda. There's 3D graphics in the games. What are we talking about? We've had 3D graphics in Zelda for a while, and like Link Between Worlds literally pops out of your screen.
It's a colloquialism,
right? It's top down, 2D, or what is it? Isometric? No, it's not full isometric.
Isometric would be 3D World, or
I'd be more top down.
Land.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, top down.
Is Kirby isometric? Do you think it is? Okay, because I wanted to confirm that it is isometric.
I don't know.
You mean Forgotten Land?
Yes.
Is it really isometric?
I would call that if you're calling that isometric, then you have to call
the Super Mario 3D World's isometric.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same. Right. It's the same perspective as that.
That's how people refer to 3D World. So that's
really
fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, maybe those people are wrong.
Okay. When I think of isometric, the camera is usually much further out.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the new
it still feels like
game?
It's over the shoulder almost.
The new Oddworld game kind of has that camera perspective, and they called it 2.9D. And I thought that was the silliest way to describe it. What does 2.9D mean?
So Doggy, to your point, you're like New Super Mario Bros, which I don't know why we're talking about New Super Mario Bros because we were watching Wonder. But then Link Between Worlds works on a 2D plane. Actually, there's height in the game, and things can't you can go up on a high plane and shoot over enemies. So there's height in the game. So you can't say it works on a 2D plane because it does take height into consideration.
There's vertical.
I mean, these games have depths. Like we talk about Metroid Dread, right? Metroid Dread has elements that aren't just pure side scrolling, right? Like when you go behind the shoulder.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean,
not really like
even Minish Cap. Minish Cap, you can jump with the Rock's Feather, or even what's that? Link's Awakening has it too, right? The Rock's Feather.
Listen, these terminologies are just colloquialisms.
It is. I know what people mean when they say 2D Zelda. But it's more like top down. They moved beyond the 2D visuals a long time.
It's not the scientific term. It's not the what is it? The
politically correct.
Or
I call it side scrolling Mario. What's the same between all those Marios? They're all side scrolling. Right.
I mean, if we really want to get technical, I mean RPGs.
Oh yeah, let's not.
I've had very long conversations.
Zelda's now an RPG.
What an RPG
apparently,
is.
no longer action.
Anything where you're playing a role that's a game is an RPG. Right?
I've had people.
I'm Bond, James Bond, and Goldeneye. RPG.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil are RPGs, and they made a solid case, and I couldn't deny it. But I was like, they're not. But I guess you
And
are
that's
right.
why I think
Yeah.
colloquialisms are very valid, because we understand what we're referring to
Yeah.
when we say
Yeah.
RPG.
It's more
Right.
of like a trigger point to me at the moment where I'm like,
Yeah.
every time someone brings it up, I'm like, no, I'm going to correct you.
Yeah.
No.
I can't help it. It's just what I am. I have changed my terminology. I used to use the same
Yeah.
terminology. And then after A Link Between Worlds, I'm like, I can't do that anymore. Like literally they talked about verticality in the damn interviews. I can't do it anymore. It's now
Well,
top-down
I mean,
Zelda.
should we not call Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom open world?
Because they call
Open
them
air.
open air.
Correct.
That's just them
It's
making
very-
up a term.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
Good point. That's a good. That's a
They
good.
made up a term. They did. This is Nintendo. This is the Apple way. We want to be different. It's not 120 hertz screen.
Yeah.
It's whatever they called it. They don't
Well-
call it 120 hertz. No. It's not 120 hertz. It's some, I don't know, ProMotion, I believe it is. If we have ProMotion screens, you mean 120 hertz? No, you can't do that. It's ProMotion. They're just making up terms.
how do you think
replace things
words
we
or
already know.
phrases are created, though? They're made up
Well,
by
we
somebody, and eventually they
I
stick.
know.
They're
The thing is,
buzzwords.
That's how it works.
my
It's
goodness.
buzzwords
Yes.
in the end.
Here's what I hate. You could say like glizzy. All right, hot dog, cap, lie. Okay. We're
Dog.
using words to replace other words that already exist that do the damn job.
Riz.
Open air is open world. They're the same
It's
thing.
like,
There's no
Open air is the
Yeah.
Gen Z term for open world.
Especially since
I'm
they
calling
used
it here.
open air in Breath of the Wild. Since it was used in that game. If you want to argue, in Tears of the Kingdom, because you're up in the sky, fine. If it's an open world game, not up the sky, you can't call it open air. But guess what? We weren't up in the sky in Breath of the Wild, and they called it open air. So it's the same damn thing.
Xenoblade
Uh,
Chronicles
I
X. is
don't-
There's
an
a
open world.
paraglider. You know how many open world games you could jump off? Come on. Come on.
Listen,
Don't even start.
I think that
Anyways,
we can
This is
really
a good
split
way to
hairs
segue.
here.
in, and we're
who
on
our
the
sponsor
first
sponsor
topic.
right now.
The first time.
We're
The
still on
sponsor, by the
question
way, is
one.
actually you guys. We actually do have some podcast sponsors coming up, but you guys are the sponsor of this guy's episode. Thank you to everyone who supports the podcast and the channel in general over on Patreon at patreon.com/NintendoPrime. It is pinned in the comment. You can become a member for as little as $1 and help support this little tiny show we do every single week.
Give
And I'm
money.
waiting for the Patreon to get so big. Then Andres reaches out and goes, dude, I'm on every week. Where's my pay?
Nah.
Anyways, let's move on to that next topic since we had a nice little segment, but then we can't. It's Zelda, guys.
Yeah.
Whenever Zelda comes up, it like dominates, and that's why I wasn't planning to have a Zelda topic. But then
Here
Here,
we
I'll
are.
Alnuma had to open his mouth and say something that upset people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Here, I hope 2D Zelda will come again because Nintendo cares about their other franchises, but some people disagree. Go.
I completely
go.
disagree.
Well, okay. Why you disagree then? Why?
I
Oh,
already
here we go,
explained
here
it
we go.
because for
I'm
the
trying to help you segue.
for less money, they could just remake games and get the same sales. It's business. It's all about
That's-
business. It doesn't make
where I'm at,
business
too.
sense to keep making it.
Guess
It
Big
makes
Fortune
business
should be
sense to make
canceled.
side-scrolling Mario. It does not make business sense to invest money in new ideas for those kind of games. It just doesn't.
Pikmin 4 doesn't exist.
Okay, I think Pikmin 4 is what's his name? I think it's being.
Why are we bringing up?
Miyamoto
See, the thing
gets
is, you're
so
bringing up
excited.
small budget games. Zelda's never been a small budget game.
Well, 2D Zelda's not going to be a big budget title either. So
I mean, they took 3 years to develop A Link Between Worlds. That's not no time there.
Dude, they
Insane.
put Link Between Worlds on Good Morning America when I was like 12. I remember.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That was wild. I was like, oh my god, wait.
Yeah, I still remember Jimmy Kimmel with Wii. I
College
don't know
video
what was going
games.
on.
Whoa.
listen, there are a lot of
Anyways.
indie games that do more impressive things than Link Between Worlds.
I was
for
trying not to
today's
Look, I
modern.
was trying not
standards.
to get the last word in, Andres. I was trying to transition here.
done.
Transition to our next
I'm
topic. So this is just kind of a for fun topic. I don't think it's going to take very long, but it's just kind of for fun. We haven't done for fun topics in a while because we're so news focused around here. So I wanted to throw a little curveball in this week, and we get the opportunity, each of us. Nintendo calls us out. Not Doug Bowser. He doesn't get to make these decisions. We're talking to Furukawa, the man himself. Maybe even Miyamoto, second highest paid guy at Nintendo. What he says kind of goes. We get to bring back one old Nintendo IP. Just one. That's it. There's a lot we probably want back, but only one.
I
Which
hope
one do we
mine
choose?
doesn't get taken.
And
So-
why? I will go last.
Okay. Can I go first?
You know what? You go first.
okay.
Do it.
Yeah, he's so worried about him being
Yeah,
Okay.
if you're worried about it.
I'll
you
go
take it.
first. So mine is very random. I will
And you're
say,
worried about it being taken.
yeah, but it's the thing is, I didn't know this
Chibi
franchise
Robo, isn't it?
existed until Smash Brothers. And when I found these
Oh.
characters in Smash Brothers, I was like, "Oh, where is their game?" And I never saw their game. He knows what's
Ice
coming.
Climbers?
Yeah.
Is it Ice
Well,
Climbers?
yeah. So basically, I
Um,
I looked back and I was like, "Oh, where is this game? Where is this game from these characters?" And it was like all the way back on the NES. I don't think we even got a second one, but I would love to see an HD, maybe 3D, or just
Open
a
air.
new modern take on the Ice Climbers.
Oh my god!
Open air
What if
Ice
we had
Climbers. Let's
Oh
go.
my god! No. Okay, going
What
up.
was
there
this?
would've
Was
been
this
moving
Ice
up,
Climbers?
That that new game going up. What if we had a Fodian go or what like a Bennett Foddy type Ice Climbers where it's just one giant map, and if you fall, you have to like restart from the very. Oh my, that'd be actually crazy.
Okay,
I would
That'd
love
be
like an
wild.
arcade
Bennett
style Ice
Foddy in-
Climbers where you can beat like in 4 hours, but there's reason to go back and forth. And if you
Yeah,
fall,
it
you
kind of
just
like a
start over.
roguelike in a way.
Yeah, it'd be
Like
amazing.
Hades
True.
meets Ice
Oh,
Climbers.
that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
that would
with
be sick.
modern graphics, modern music, modern
Starting off
like
with a banger.
And by
Yeah,
only being
and-
4 to
and, like,
5
new
hours
character
long, it would be
designs
low
too,
budget.
like-
Making ideas for that game. Nintendo, take notes.
Yeah, and these
Shigeru,
characters,
come
what
in
are
here,
their
come
what are
on.
their names? Popo and Nana or whatever. They got redesigns in Melee. They've looked the same in Brawl, Smash 4. I don't think they were in Smash 4 and then Ultimate. They look the same. So give them new redesigns, give them new personalities, looks, because the world of Ice Climbers, we see it through Smash Bros. And that's not even an Ice
I mean,
Climbers.
I saw it through the NES. I'm just saying.
Yes,
I'm
but
that old.
the modern, like, you know,
It's just a 3D
Smash-
realization
the
of my
ice,
childhood.
the
A lot of us
pterodactyls,
discover
and
the
the
Yeah, I
franchise.
know a
I
lot of
see the
people
point in
discovered
there.
through it, but for me, it's just a 3D realization of my childhood.
I never played Ice Climbers. I never knew about it until
Is it on
I played
NSO?
Brawl, and then I went back into like I think
They put it on NSO. You should go play it.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Yeah,
I don't know
Yeah,
if it
I
is,
actually will. Yeah,
but-
because on I think Brawl has the Chronicle where you can go back and play demos of the retro games. So that's how I found out what Ice Climbers is, and I was like, wow, is there no other Ice Climber game?
It was actually kind of
So-
shocking when they put the Ice Climbers in the game. It was really unexpected back then.
Mhm. Yeah.
That was the Banjo Kazooie of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like when people wanted the Mach Rider in Smash Ultimate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be
Who wants
cool.
to
I
go
think
next?
I
Slam. Yeah, he's got his hand
technically-
raised. He wants to go.
technically
Let's do it.
two, but so I guess I would say Mario RPG, or I would say like the Mario and Luigi series.
Mario and Luigi's okay.
Yeah, because I consider them to be sequels of the Mario RPG genre. I know there's technically the split that
Yeah.
Paper Mario but I would like to see. I mean, you could even port them to the Switch, and I would be happy. But a new one of those would be really nice. And even if you just put them in like the Octopath Traveler kind of 2D ISO 8 Ultra
2D.
HD style, that would be so sick. I would love that. But the other thing I had thought of like the set like while we were talking, would
Only
be
choose one.
I would probably choose this one over
Okay,
the Mario
okay,
Luigi
okay.
one though. A new Earthbound game. Like they have
Mother.
not touched
Yes.
yeah, a
New
new
Mother.
Mother,
There it
new
is.
Earthbound.
So it's
Yeah.
finally a game I didn't put on the list. I was like, Ice Climber, oh, it's on the list.
Ah,
Not Earthbound though.
No, Earthbound would be sick, especially just because, like, again, kind of he was talking about, you were talking about, oh, we only see the story through Smash Bros. And I know there's a lot of people who haven't played. I mean, there's plenty of people who have played, Earthbound and other games, but
In fact, we've never gotten 3 officially in
past
North
my
America.
time. So yeah, exactly. But a lot of them just haven't come to America. So it'd be really cool to them just even acknowledge that the games exist other than in Smash Bros. And then two, if we got some type of sequel, or it doesn't even have to be a sequel, it could just be like a spiritual successor, like with all new characters, like kind of have Lucas, or even like what they're doing with Pikmin 4, where you have like your character that maybe you create, but you interact with Lucas in the past and Ness and whoever else. That'd be really, I don't know, it'd be really neat. And I think you could derive so many new characters and art style. You can go so many ways with it. And I think the trend of like the Octopath Traveler is kind of set, or just that trend of like JRPGs going in the way of like this cool isometric super ultra HD, or just like having just like a really unique art style. I would love to see more of that applied to Earthbound game as well. So, but anyways, that's my pick.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
You want to go next, Andres? Or you want me to go?
I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, I know you want. It's your show, so if you want to go, I think you should go last. Like,
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go
Yeah,
last.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna say my game anyways. I don't think. I got to
Star
double check to make
Tropics.
sure Nintendo owns it. Nope.
Damn it. I when you said it, when you brought up the list thing, I was like, oh, what? I should pick a franchise that's not on the list just to kind of like spite you. But
Yeah, mine's not on the list. So
no, I mean, I don't actually want Star Tropics because I don't know, I didn't like Star Tropics that
Dude,
much.
I played through that game. That was a fever dream back in
Yeah.
the. Me and my buddy, we literally got drunk and started playing it because we watched Game Grumps play like an
Yeah.
episode of it way back in the day, and then they put it on Nintendo Switch Online, and we tried it out, and we were like, "What is happening in this game?" And there's some like kind of borderline not PC stuff in that game too. You're like, oh, okay, sure, I guess that's what's happening.
Is
here.
it
Yeah.
is it a N64 one?
No, it's a
no.
NES. It's
original
old
NES.
of the old.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an old game. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I remember playing the beginning. It's like you're exploring an island. It's like an action adventure RPG for that time. Top down perspective in 2 dimensions. But that's not what I want Nintendo to go back to. I don't think
anybody does.
If there's a franchise that Nintendo probably will never dip back into, I think it's that one. Watch next September Direct. They announced like a Star Tropics remake in 3D. It would be amazing, actually. I'd be interested to see what they're going to do. But I'm going to try and pick something that I actually I really want. And the problem is that there's no way we're going to get all of them. There's too many. But I'm going to just take this opportunity to talk about something that I think would be cool, right? I think I want to say Kid Icarus, but that's supposedly getting
we don't know for sure because it seems like he's still begging for it in his recent video.
I don't think it's
dead.
I don't think
Because
it's
like we got it on 3DS.
I don't think it's I don't think what
it's
he
a fake
said
out.
confirms it more. No. I think I don't think it's even started development after what he said.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
say it for anyways. Go on.
But I'm gonna pick a very very obvious one, Star Fox. I think Star Fox would actually be something that would be great for Nintendo to go back to. Now the thing it's kind of interesting though because I think kind of just considering what we were just talking about, I think it does make sense for Nintendo to be considerate of the budget, right? So I don't think they're gonna the next Star Fox game is gonna be a giant open world space adventure. Which would be amazing, but that's just not realistic. So I think it's got to be something that's a bit smaller. But smaller doesn't mean bad because technically most Star Fox games are small, right? Right? Like what if? I mean, you had the whole Starlink thing, which was actually an open world like space exploration game, right? So I mean, that would be cool. But it's very simple, but I think something that people would really love. So it's going to bring back the typical arcade style, like that is there. That's a maybe a 4 to 6 hour campaign, but it has the split paths. So it's very arcade-like. It's meant for replayability. You'll find different things, but as you play and get different scores, you can unlock different things in the multiplayer mode, and it would be a online multiplayer mode. Maybe almost kind of like a Splatoon style format where you have a campaign and you have a multiplayer mode, and and you unlock things with a multiplayer mode, and it's about duking it out in space. It's R-wing battles. If they want to extend that to Landmasters or something like that, great. Maybe make it kind of like what's that Star Wars game, that series of Star Wars games where it's basically like just online like death matches.
Yeah.
Is it not Rogue Squadron? Is it? It's I know.
Oh, like the new one that was like a piloting one.
No, not that one. Though that would be a cool.
The one
actually, that would be really cool.
In terms of the Ubisoft game?
No. The EA ones.
EA ones.
Rogue Squadron, Star Wars. Is it Star Wars? It's not Star Wars.
It's just Battlefront, right?
Battlefront.
Yeah.
Well, but the point is that you have multiplayer matches, but actually, I think I'll take that back. The Rogue Squadron is really cool because that is like it's literally a flight, right? But imagine multiplayer dogfights. Just really focus on that, make that fun, and that's what it is. You know, they kind of just use a Splatoon format, but for Star Fox.
That's literally what I was about to say. Go to the Splatoon format. Make it, like,
Crazy.
Something. Yeah.
You know, with like Mario Wonder, it's doing something completely different from what 2D Mario is. And then from what you guys have potentially possibly heard about Donkey Kong, it's doing something new that's never been done with Donkey Kong before.
We don't really know.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
The point is, we don't know.
We don't
just know.
know. It's like
Donkey
maybe
Kong.
it's being made. That's about all we.
Yeah, but my
That's
point is,
it.
I want them to do with that with
Long
Star
is
Fox,
coming.
because like Star Fox 64 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love that game so much, but it also soured the other Star Fox experiences for me because it's just trying to emulate the same experience and not really doing it as well. So I want something new. I think what you said, like focusing on the multiplayer, is a good idea, but even adding some new elements to the single player, making the branching paths even more of like a web of like no two playthroughs will be the same or something like that. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I think like you're saying, the Splatoon format. I mean, like genuinely just make it like a Battlefield thing and just have it like it could even be a first. Imagine a Star Fox first person shooter. That'd be wild.
Star Fox Battle Royale.
Yo, there it is.
Oh,
you hit the nail on that.
Ooh, Battle Royale in space though, like a
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really cool. So
That would be
it
fun.
starts
It's
off-
Nintendo's
it
live
comes in.
service. Oh, I shouldn't have
So-
said that.
Take notes. Take notes, Nintendo.
No, like a Battle for the Lilac system as a Battle Royale would be so freaking cool. So
With
you start
seasons and season
Oh,
passes. And
No, the problem with this is that the Star Fox
Nate
shooter
is
just,
like
four
losing it right
people. It's
now.
just-
I know.
there's not-
Oh
there's
my
not
god, the
enough
Star Fox
characters
Battle
thing.
Pass.
Trust me,
with
I don't
skins,
want this.
It goes so
Where's my
hard.
mute button? Hold on.
I'll stick with my original idea, but you know,
Yeah.
it would be fun.
So
Yeah.
I was gonna go with Wario Land. That was gonna be the one I wanted to come back. I love the Wario Land games.
Oh, the 3D one? Or no, that's no.
no,
is that
it's
the 3D one?
a
The 3D
side
one.
scrolling.
Oh, that's the 2D one. Okay.
Yeah, it's a side scrolling.
There's Wario World on
Side-scrolling,
GameCube.
excuse me.
Yeah, there is the Wario World one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kept thinking as you guys are talking, what does it say? Right? I can only bring back one. And would that really be the one?
Wario Land.
No, it's Golden Sun.
Oh, yes.
Nintendo owns the IP. I did triple check that Nintendo, because they didn't develop it. But
It's Camelot.
yeah,
It's
they
Camelot,
own the
right?
IP rights. And by the way, I don't want Camelot going near a new Golden Sun.
Yeah.
Just like I'm kind of done with them doing sports games, if I'm completely honest.
I'll
They
keep
were
it
also the
real.
masterminds behind my favorite Mario sports games. I want them to leave it alone now. Camelot needs to go to something else. Maybe
keep it
maybe
real.
they
I
could
haven't
make a good Golden Sun if they
heard
were
of
given a
this
chance.
game.
I don't know.
Are they? They're not owned by Nintendo, right? They're not first party.
No.
They're like Intelligent Systems, which is like
Yeah, they're like intelligence
partnered,
systems.
yeah.
They're not owned. They're just big
Okay.
partners. But the thing is, Nintendo owns Golden Sun. And I sat there and I'm like, okay, it's an RPG. It was very, very good way back in the day. Some of the later games, not as much. And that's one of the reasons why the sales died off. And then they killed the IP. You bring it back. You tell Monolith Soft it's time. You keep Xenoblade going, but you take a crack at Golden Sun.
Oh, if they do Golden Sun like they did like Xenogears or Xenosaga, that would be
That's what I'm saying. They have the experience there with. So I'm just like, it's,
yeah,
it's time.
Monolith knows turn-based.
Yeah, they
combat.
know. They don't really. They don't
things,
do it any right now, but they have experience with it. It wouldn't take the manpower that their Xenoblade games does.
And
like,
they have many teams. They have a Zelda team. They have
you
a
can go with
Xenoblade
an
team. They have a
HD 2D
Nintendo
style, I guess,
team.
if you want. I don't know, just something, man.
Yeah, because like a small Monolith Soft team can do Golden Sun, and
what would
that's a
I have
fantastic
Camelot
idea.
do? Go work for somebody else. I'm sorry, I've not enjoyed a Camelot game full. Like I get excited because I'll give them this: they nail the gameplay, but somebody else needs to nail the content. So
yeah,
I'm good if Camelot just stops making games for Nintendo. I'm sorry, I don't want people to lose
also
their jobs.
Next Level is also
I'm so let down by every game they release. It's like, all right, it's time.
Next Level is also to blame for that with Strikers.
Well, they're Strikers, and I'm not happy with them on that either.
Yeah, Strikers is pretty lackluster.
So is it a Camelot problem or is it a
fine.
Nintendo problem?
They
Is it a
understand the
Nintendo
content.
problem telling them, hey, we don't want any of this stuff in this game, which is
I
kind of
don't know.
silly.
Nintendo might dictate a timetable. That might limit the games.
Okay.
But I don't know.
They're just Mario Sports
You can't
Wars.
release Mario Golf and say we have an RPG. Their own words.
Yeah.
Mario Golf is bringing back the single player. It was not an RPG. Get out of here.
That was
Get out. And I don't even play.
fair.
And they. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sour by the game. They start off perfectly. Everything's going good. You start off with an opening tournament. You're like, cool. You hear about the big league with the big boys like Mario, and you're like, oh, I can't wait till I get to go do that. You never get to do it. You never play in another tournament again.
Wild. That's
like, well, how does it start out like the prior RPG Mario Tennis games and then end with a linear piece of crap mini game fest? What? Oh,
I didn't
I
even
don't
play
get it.
So yeah.
yeah.
It was bad. It was a glorified tutorial for multiplayer. And I sat there like, you said RPG, not tutorial. Oh, I'm so mad right now.
I just want to point out Camelot's history since they started making games for Nintendo, because they used to make games for mostly Sega and
back in the
PlayStation.
day. Yeah.
But starting in '99, they made Mario Golf for both N64 and Game Boy. Then 2000, it was Mario Tennis.
Yep.
Then 2001, it was Mario Golf again.
Yeah, both those games.
But also Golden Sun. So they gave us a Golden Sun in 2001.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And then 2002, they followed up with Golden Sun Lost Age. So back to back, good RPGs. Then 2003, Mario Golf. 2004, Mario Golf and Mario Power Tennis. Different platforms, GameCube and Game Boy Advance. 2005, Mario Tennis again. 2007, We Love Golf. What?
Yeah, that was like the start of the downfall.
Yeah. Then 2009, New Play Control Mario Power Tennis was just a remaster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who took over at Camelot? Because they had the potential. Obviously, they made those.
Well,
back then, most of the team's probably gone at this point.
So
probably.
But 2010 though, they came out with Golden Sun Dark Dawn, and if I remember correctly, that underperformed.
People don't consider that as good as the older ones.
Yeah. But it was still a solid game from what I've heard.
It's okay.
Yeah. 2012 Mario Tennis, 2014. It's been basically Mario sports titles every 2 years. And that's all they've done. So like they're pretty much like this idea that they no longer make Camelot, like Camelot no longer makes other games. They've only made Mario sports games for pretty much their entire time.
Yeah, it's been over a decade since the last time they made something else.
But they've had a sprinkling of Golden Sun in the early 2000s, and then they had one other last-ditch effort in 2010. Now, considering the gap between 2010 and
today,
2002, 8 years. I mean, it's been it's an even longer gap now than the prior gap. So I don't know.
I don't like the games they make now, so I don't want them touching it. I think they have a better RPG team that can handle it.
I think they should just stick to being the basic.
And honestly, this is what kind of sucks, and maybe this is why Monolith Soft doesn't want to do it. They'd use a smaller team, they make a badass game, and it might outsell every Xenoblade game. And they might not like that, considering that they do put like their Xenoblade games have like 150 people on it, and they do not justify the sales for it. But
I think
Monolith is profitable, aren't they?
I think they're very happy
they are
with
just profitable.
what
yes,
they've done.
But
like
I think what happened is, and I saw this in an interview with the director of Xenoblade 3, where he mentioned, our games don't sell like some of other Nintendo's IP, but the games are profitable, and Nintendo trusts us because we help with so many.
Where did they say that?
Yeah, it's in an interview they did. Oh God, I gotta go find it. I think it was.
I would actually really.
Yeah, it was a really fascinating interview where he said they're profitable, but Nintendo trusts us with all.
Yeah,
like they help with Splatoon 3. They help with Zelda.
From what I've seen of what Takahashi has said is that he's very happy with how the series is going with sales.
Yeah, well, it was showing an increase in sales with 2, and then they're
very proud of what happened with 2, and of course with 3. Like I do firmly think that 3 will be.
Give 3 a little time, and let's see if it can get up there to 2. I think it will. I think it might pass it. We'll see. I hope.
Controversy aside, like 3 doesn't have the things that bog down the experience with 2.
I think 3's way better than 2.
3's arguably my favorite game on the Switch. And the thing is, with the new DLC Future Redeemed, I think that also picked up a lot of sales as well. And I think there was a reason, like my friend was saying, there's a reason why they didn't go physical is because they want you to buy the game. They want you to buy the actual game so you can get the DLC as well. Because people who wanted to play as Shulk, wanted to play as Rex, they're gonna have to buy Xenoblade 3 and then buy Future Redeemed as well, like the digital version.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
I
don't know how much of a difference that would make.
I don't know if
but
we'll ever get a sales update on it because they only ever update when it sells $1.25 million. So
I have a prediction.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I'm just gonna.
It's why Metroid Dread hasn't been updated. It's still not at 3 million sales because it hasn't sold
2.9 or something.
Because
right?
it hasn't sold $1.25 million
That's crazy.
in a long time.
All right, I'll go out and buy a
They
few
just stopped
Nintendo, I
selling
got
Metroid
you.
Dread copies.
Yeah, what's the
Alright.
thing? We won't get an update until they actually sell $1.25 million, and I just don't think Dread's ever going to do that.
All right, everybody in chat right now, everyone buy one copy of Metroid Dread so we can get
Just
it
so
right
we
over
can
the
see it above 3 million.
Yeah,
It's probably already
and
above.
Xenoblade
They just aren't going to update.
Oh yeah.
So I believe Monolith Soft is still working on their new IP.
Yes,
I can't say. And I think when
I
that
think it's
comes
prepping
out,
for Switch 2.
Oh yeah, I think it's 100%
Maybe a launch
Switch
title.
2
Maybe a
game.
launch title.
I don't know. They've been working on this thing like a decade.
I don't know about launch title. I'm not saying no. I just have no idea.
I think it's a fundamentally different game than
I have a friend who was
gonna be
saying
the
that
best
he
selling
doesn't
game yet.
believe that it exists anymore
be.
because a lot of those concepts might have been put into something like Xenoblade 3 or even Tears of the Kingdom. He
It's
was
still
like,
on their website though.
Yeah, I had
It's
this
still on
idea
their
that
website,
Monolith
yeah.
Soft with this new IP was, and by the way, we don't really know, but the details are so scant and they're so old at this point. But I kind of feel like what they're doing with this game is they're aiming for a more Western RPG feel.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's well beyond something they've ever done before, and that's why it's taken so long. But when it comes out, I mean, this, you guys
I
want
think
another
it's gonna-
Zelda? This could
No,
be like
oh,
the
yeah,
next big
because-
RPG from
Yeah,
Nintendo.
so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So you also agree this
It
might
gives
be
me
like
MMO vibes.
This could be huge.
it's gonna be.
I-
I think it's gonna be bigger than.
It's going to be
Xenoblade
heavily
potentially.
promoted. Like if they get it right, and I don't know if they can because they've never made a game like that, but that's why it's taken so long.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it's gonna be based on Xenoblade. It's just I think
But
Xenoblade
they
X.
can't
is
make
probably,
it like Xenoblade. It'll limit
they'll
the
take, like,
sales
the
in
Monster
the West.
Hunter
It'll
route
limit
with
the
it?
sales in the West if they do it.
You know what
that
this
way.
game reminds me
But they
now that I
might
think
because
about
that's what they know.
This new IP reminds me of Atlus's new IP, Metaphor Refantasio. Like, I don't know if you guys play Atlus's Persona games or anything, but that game, like, their new IP.
Persona. Get it. I'm
It's a Nintendo podcast.
gonna literally.
Yeah.
Hey, what's it say down here? Losing subs is my game.
What I'm saying is Atlus is combining SMT and Persona to make this new high fantasy IP. And I think Monolith Soft is doing something similar, bringing concepts from their other games to go into a high fantasy setting with potentially MMO multiplayer elements, which they wanted to add in Xenoblade X, which were kind of there but weren't fully realized. I think that's what this game is going to be. I think they're saving it for Switch 2. So I don't know.
Speaking of
I'm
things-
hopeful. I'm hopeful that it exists because it looks really good. The
Speaking of
3
things
images
that-
we've seen.
No, you're good. Speaking of things they're saving for Switch 2, Metroid Prime 4
Mhm.
definitely going to be on that. I think that and whatever new 3D Mario, those are going to be your Switch,
All right.
your Switch 2 launch titles.
All right.
We're almost to that.
All right. We're not to that
section,
topic yet. Let's
almost.
let's
Yeah, we'll
move.
get
Let's
there,
move
we'll get there.
beyond.
Sorry, I'm getting
Next
ahead
topic.
of myself.
Mario time.
Yeah.
Basically, we're just getting some quick thoughts in here on the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave 5 tracks, characters, release date, etc. They dropped that today. Coming out next week, July 12th, which is my fiance's birthday. So that's kind of a nice surprise for her because she likes Mario Kart. So that's going to be kind of cool. The new tracks are Koopa Cat from Mario Kart Wii. We have Los Angeles Laps from Tour, Moonview Highway from the Wii version. We have Squeaky Clean Spring, which is their brand new track. Athens Dash from Tour, Daisy Cruiser from Double Dash, Sunset Wild from Super Circuit, and Vancouver Velocity from Tour. And obviously, we know about the new characters they already announced: Umberto, PD, Piranha, Wiggler, and Kamek. Most of them coming back from old games.
Yeah.
So, what are we feeling? We finally,
say-
we brought the wave. We brought the
Yeah.
waves and the release dates and stuff up many times in podcasts in the past. We have a release date. We know what's in it. Obviously, Wave 6 is before the end of the year. How we feeling on this wave? Is it good?
It looks good. I don't play Mario Kart as much as I used to, but I finally have the expansion pass now, so I can play these.
Got a lot of
Moonview
content.
Highway being back is great. I'm just happy to see Vancouver Velocity because I used to live in Vancouver, so I'm gonna go around there and be like, I remember this
Beautiful
place, I remember
city.
this place, and this place, and this place.
Yeah.
But it's Mario Kart now, so that's really cool. When I saw that in the trailer today, I was like, oh, Vancouver Velocity, I live there.
Anytime they bring a GameCube, because Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart. Anytime they bring any of those maps, I'm like, hell yeah, dude. So seeing Daisy's cruise ship, it brings joy to my heart. I still I'm praying that Wario Stadium makes it eventually.
Yeah.
It's a weird map. It's so fun.
That's like a popular fan favorite.
I want Dino Jungle.
Dino Jungle is also good. Well, they brought that back in the 3DS one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dino and
one more
DK
wave,
Mountain.
buddy.
Those are
keep
fun.
the hope,
Yeah.
keep the hope alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DK Mountain, yeah.
DK Mountain's fun.
Yeah, those are
DK
two.
Mountain's always amazing.
Waluigi Stadium is fun as well.
We got that one.
That one's
right?
already in there. Yeah.
Okay.
That was the
That one's
last
in there.
wave.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Cool. You're talking about the pinball one, right? Oh no, there's two different ones.
Yeah,
They're-
Waluigi
that's
Pinball is
pinball.
DS, and then Waluigi
we
Stadium
have both,
is
though.
GameCube. Yeah,
We have both.
We have both now. Yep.
Yeah.
So me and my friends, a group of my like streamer friends or other content creators, we always do like every time a wave comes out, we just have like a big old we just all hop in a Discord and just and just
Time to
try
go.
Yeah,
Peace
it's time
out.
to take my night meds. No, we just play it, and I'm just really excited. I always love when they announce a new wave because it's like, yeah, it's time to get the gang back together. Let's do it. Let's go.
yeah.
Yeah. Like obviously, having all the old tracks back and looking better than ever is always cool. And as someone who doesn't really play Mario Kart Tour, the tour tracks always feel like brand new tracks.
Me too.
But like sometimes they feel a little smaller than other Mario Kart tracks, but that's okay. They were originally designed for a phone, so
yeah,
they're still pretty fun. But dude, Squeaky Clean Spring,
that one
looks so sick.
That looks really cool.
That looks.
I haven't looked into that one much.
And
but,
I've stared at the gameplay so much that I'm doing
Very
things
new.
like, why is there fabric softener in the bathroom? I got questions on what these people are keeping in this bathroom right now because some of this stuff doesn't make sense to me. Fabric softener is the laundry room, not the bathroom. I'm confused.
They could be touching,
I'm just like, what are they doing? Sprinkling it on the towels before you use it?
Or maybe you throw a little bit in the bath.
Maybe they hand wash it and they're a hand wash family and they just do it right in the bathtub. I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
But like it looks incredible. And it just reminds me of like the true creativity that this team has, which just again makes you just more excited for whenever the hell they decide to finally make a new Mario Kart game with all new tracks.
I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna bet it's already made. It's just sitting somewhere. I think it's
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird if it's like this Squeaky Clean Spring that was from the new game? They just yanked it over and they're just working on it.
I mean, the Mario Kart Tour team is making these. Like they're making these, and like that Squeaky Clean is gonna be in Tour as well. Just a different version of it.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, that's how it's been.
That's how it's been every time.
Yeah.
With the new track, come to Mario Kart 8 first.
This DLC is a very worthwhile purchase, even if I didn't get the expansion pass. Yeah, it's
48
whole
tracks
game's worth of
plus
content,
new racers.
Yeah, greatest DLC of all time.
I also like how it had the item
for Nintendo.
What's that? Custom items you can play in the game.
That was a very nice improvement.
Yeah, because I did a match with my friend once, and it was just all blue shells. All the items we used were blue shells.
Yeah, blue shells only.
Yeah, that's fun. A fun match. When are we gonna get old items or even new items? That would be cool to get in like maybe the last wave or. I don't know, just like bring back like the Super Shroom.
That just made me realize I need to run a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament when this comes out. Well, I gotta wait for it to actually be added to because you can't always do them day one in the tournaments. But when they are, guys, we gotta have a blue shell only tournament.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be
chaos.
So what I'm kind of curious.
It's gonna be Mario Kart.
So they added 3 big characters for this wave.
Yeah,
leaving 2 more characters left, if I'm not mistaken.
Based on the slots,
for the last wave. So, but what's interesting about this DLC is that they've given us more than they've promised, right? Like they've been the updates, like with the item customization, the characters, like these are new things that were unexpected. They've even gone back to some of the older waves they released and improved the visuals and things like that. So I'm just kind of curious, right? Are they going to go out with a bang and give us a little bit more than expected again, or are they just going to do the last 8 and 2 more characters, which is not bad. I mean, that's good, but it is going to be less than what this would be, right? Or are they going to do something?
I think it depends on what the characters are.
I mean, is there any
I don't know what it would be. I don't know what it would be.
Favorite.
You say that, but like I don't know. When I play Mario Kart, I always pick Luigi or Zelda.
Well, yeah, everyone's got their favorite characters.
Everyone's got their favorite.
But I sat there and I'm
don't know
like,
what else to
okay,
add.
based on the slots, if there's only going to be 2 and they did 4 this time, then the 2 have to be like massive. But what would they be?
There's something else that they're doing beyond the characters.
Or what if they're revisiting the old DLC when they added Animal Crossing and Zelda in?
Yeah, like adding,
and they haven't done that in this DLC at all.
Metroid and
or they add a new franchise into.
I mean, honestly, yeah. At this point, why don't they just?
That would be one that'd be like, oh, that's why
card.
there's only 2 because they're adding a new franchise in.
Yeah,
a couple of racetracks.
True. That would be neat.
Yeah,
maybe.
But that's going back to the OG Mario Kart 8 days.
Or what if what they're gonna do? They're gonna add Captain Falcon and not as an amiibo.
Oh
yes,
right, and they'll pair this. So this will be announced in the September Direct when they also announce the F-Zero.
Yeah, you're just hoping for F-Zero. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, like it's a remember.
That would be a good marketing tactic.
I know. I've heard it too from my own source. It's one of those things that, like, I know things Nintendo are just sitting on. It's just, I wonder if they're sitting on it for the next system at this point, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but they want to really perk up that year 1 to have a repeat of 2017.
Well, I mean, all they have to do is announce the F-Zero GX remaster, right? Like, if they're going to use the Captain Falcon's cross promotion, it doesn't have to be like immediate. You know, like we're gonna play Mario Kart, so why would we play Mario Kart and F-Zero at the same time? Like, there's some crossover there, right? So, but if the GX remaster, if it's truly being made by Next Level Games, I think that does imply it's more than just a basic remaster. It's going to have a little bit more work done. So it might have a little bit more of like a marketing cycle, kind of like Mario RPG. So, you know, maybe there would be some cross promotion.
New screenshots dropped today. Mario RPG.
Today? I haven't seen them
today. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more. It looks like the old game, but then it also looks significantly better because the visuals have all been.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding that because I'd never played Mario RPG, the original one, so I'm excited to play. Like, I know it existed, but I'm excited to like try it out for the first time.
I've never played it, but I've seen it played, and I was like, I don't get what the big deal is. And then everyone tells me, you like 1,000 Year Door? Yeah. You like the Mario and Luigi? Yeah. It's better than them all, and I'm like, oh, so I'm really missing out.
I've seen a lot of people talk about it.
I mean, it's like a whole ways. Yeah, it's like a proper 40-hour RPG too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something you can kind of pick up and down like Paper Mario. It's like it's gonna take you a minute to beat.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I've been told.
Like having an old man moment for a moment.
I know. What you got for us?
I got another cross promotion idea.
Oh, he's cooking. All right.
So if it's not Captain Falcon for the F-Zero GX remaster, it's Donkey Kong characters for the Donkey Kong game.
There you go.
Diddy Kong, and
cross promote, announce a new movie.
Diddy Kong and Funky Kong, or Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong. One of those combinations.
That'd be cool. That
would be cool because they were in the Mario movie doing Mario stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And that'll be
a brand new
game.
DK track that'll be sick.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be cool.
That would be
based on the movie.
I love all the
DK. They could have Kremlins on the side chucking out bananas and shit. It
makes sense. It makes sense, right?
That would make that would be sick.
And they don't even have to.
Coming. We don't
even
a
have to
minecart track that
Donkey Kong game, but
is moving lanes.
What if it's Minecraft? Cool. What if it's just a Minecraft Steve?
They make it a difficult track where we end up on minecart tracks and we have to jump to the right track, and if you miss the jump, they got to carry you back up.
Oh my god, that would be miserable. I could see it would be
that'd be awesome though. It's so miserable for the items. Like, you just get, I made the jump, you get hit by a shell.
Or like if you missed it, maybe there's like water underneath. You know how like they do with some things. Like if you fall
where you can just kind of keep going.
Yeah,
they're a little nice about it. Like, oh, you messed up. It's okay. We got your back.
Yeah.
You can
go like a more in-depth Wario's Gold Mine.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, and you can make it loop and do all the crazy stuff with the hover. Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be awesome.
All right. I guess there's time for the bonus topic. We made it to the bonus topic.
I
Switch 2. It says Switch 2. Let me read the bonus topic. Technically says Switch 2 maybe. LOL. Look, does anyone want to summarize the reason that we would talk Switch 2? Because I really don't want to do it.
I have some questions.
I don't know the league.
I mean, I could do it if you want.
Yeah.
Sure. I've done it in 6 videos in the last week. So I'm
me
kind
too. So, maybe not 6.
Yeah, it wasn't
But-
6. I over exaggerated.
Yeah.
It's like 3. But
Sure. Yeah. Feel free to add anything, guys. But
Yeah.
there's been a few different things going on. If we're just talking about this week, we include last week. It's huge. But if we're just talking about this week,
it could be both.
Yeah, right.
Everything that's
Last
happened
week,
since the last
inform me.
episode.
I'll
of the
try and be
podcast.
quick, right? Some of these things, and some of these things are legitimately.
I got banned by
legitimate news.
family boards over my coverage. So let's go.
That's a whole other thing. But so going back to last week, right? We had the FTC case with Microsoft, right? Bobby Kotick, one of the heads at Activision, he had to start talking about some of his conversations with Nintendo, and it came up the power of Switch 2. Now, in one quote, people were surmising that he was suggesting that it's in the realm of PS4, that generation. But then another quote says he doesn't actually have specs. So it's kind of hard to really gauge what he was suggesting. We can get into interpretation, but that was kind of basically that kind of came up. It might give us an idea of where Switch 2 might be at, which that's kind of what I was expecting, but that's a whole other conversation. This is a little bit older, but we did have the fairly recent thing where we heard about Ubisoft being suggested by Nintendo to hold off on Sparks for the new console, and just by a bit, right, suggesting that it's not that far off. So we had those things from not too long ago. Then this week, we have there's a few things. Tokyo Game Show. This is big. This is actual this is actual news. The Tokyo Game Show. Nintendo's going to have a presence at Tokyo Game Show, but it's going to be a private event. We're not gonna see what's in that private event. So that's
you bringing up Tokyo.
Guys, what?
So
what are they
they're
doing
at. By the way, they're
Gamescom?
at Tokyo Game Show every year.
And they're at Gamescom.
I want to be
next
clear.
month.
They're at Tokyo Game Show with business meetings every year. I'm just
Really?
clarifying that
So-
it could be a bigger deal this year than most years, but technically
they
they're
have
there
they have a space on the floor, right? Like
yeah,
it's not just-
it's not a floor. It's just business dealings. They have a meeting room basically.
all right. Well, maybe that was being overblown then.
What are
But
they doing at
that could be what
Gamescom,
the
though?
meeting's about. They're meeting with third party companies. That's basically they do it
that's-
every
yeah.
Tokyo Game Show. But
That's what I'm very confused about. Gamescom's happening next month, and Nintendo is there. But what is Nintendo's history with Gamescom? Like, were they there last year, the year before, or like
No.
everyone says 2019 was the last time they were there?
Yep.
What
they were
about
there in
before that?
2019. They weren't.
about-
I don't believe they weren't there in 2018. They're very inconsistent
Okay.
about going
Right.
to Gamescom.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, Nintendo seems to be wanting to have more of a stage presence this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't think it's
they
because they're
got
gonna
Mario
announce it.
Wonder, I guess, and Mario RPG. But like,
Yeah.
I made a Switch
But
2
hold on,
yeah?
just one thing, just because I was
Yeah.
gonna like sum up all the news.
Yeah, there's more stuff.
There's
okay,
at least
Yeah.
one more big thing that needs to be
Okay.
addressed. And it's actually non-news, but it became news because of how much people talked about it. So there was this image that was going around from supposedly from the Nintendo developer portal that not everyone can get access to. You have to sign some NDAs and stuff and say you're a developer. But if you supposedly there's this image that was going around that was showing 3DS, Wii U, Nintendo Switch, and NX2 as potential options to get tools for development.
Yeah.
And this image was going around, and for a little bit, people were unsure if it was legitimate or not. No developers were confirming one way or the other. But most of us,
it's fake.
yes, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I would say if it says NX2,
So,
I feel like
to be
that's
clear,
fantastic.
You can make a free account and access the developer portal, and you can go right. You can literally inspect Element and make that. I know because I did it.
I mean,
It's
I
fake.
could Photoshop that image like in 5 minutes. It's very
And one,
easy.
and one thing to add to that we know it's fake is NW Player 123 just goes by Nikki now. Is a very famous data miner of Nintendo stuff and actually leaked things about the Switch a month beforehand because the developer portal had an update and she data mined the update and found information on NX, which, as we all know, was unveiled a month later in October. So, and basically the big update from this week mostly came from her because mostly all the stuff this week was a bunch of nothing burgers.
There's another one, but yeah.
But she basically said, one, whispers are picking up, which means chatter behind the scenes with developers, like between companies, is picking up on this. Basically, just reconfirmation that dev kits are out there at this point. That's why the chatter is picking up. And she heavily suggested based on what she's hearing, it's just an informed opinion. To be clear, this is an opinion. She didn't say it's going to happen.
Right.
But she had a prior informed opinion that she thought things were pointing to it being unveiled in September. And now with the chatter picking up, she's rethought it and said, you know what? Based on what I'm hearing, it might actually be sooner than that. And it's like that's like the one big thing people are kind of pointing to be like, oh, is it still this year? Well, this person, they're still stating an opinion, but it is a more informed opinion than any of the rest of us have because we aren't privy to the chatter.
Yeah. So we got that, which is that's a big deal. And I mean that's kind of it further cements the idea of dev kits too, but there was chatter about dev kits last week as well.
Yeah, and there was just like reconfirmation of it this week.
Right, yeah.
Necro Felipe basically saying, there's dev kits in Spain.
On that note of Necro Felipe, to your point, he does say, I particularly believe this is a translation, I particularly believe in the dev kit for the producer in Spain.
Yeah.
And I will not elaborate on this opinion for now, implying that there's something he's holding back.
Yeah, and he went on the FAMI boards. And he said on the family boards there are dev kits in Spain, and he just kind of left it at that.
Yeah. By the way, if you don't know who Necro Felipe is, works for Universal Nintendo. That's a Brazilian a Nintendo site. They were talking about the Nintendo Direct that most people were doubting.
Yeah,
beforehand.
And if you look at his track record, he only really ever talks when he knows stuff. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's got a contact at Nintendo Brazil, but that's neither here nor there.
Could be.
His information's too legit. He doesn't talk often, but when he does, he's just well known in certain circles. We'll leave it at that.
Announcement this year, because
NW Player is the only person that seems to be like this year. Like even Nate the Hate came out to clarify. Oh, she's just stating an opinion. My chatter is saying 2024.
Yeah,
but then he's quick to clarify. Oh, but it's just my opinion. I don't really know.
So
because like
remember the Tears of the Kingdom stuff that we talked about, and we got like flamed for it, but we're right.
Which stuff? There's a lot.
Well, when we were
the PAX stuff.
Yeah, so
the PAX stuff. Oh yeah,
right. Before the gameplay presentation.
Right. So we were like, hey, so Tears of the Kingdom news is coming this week, and people were like, yeah, you're lying. Screw you. But we weren't lying.
But I remember I literally said Tuesday, and they're like, "You're a liar." I'm like, "Okay,
all right, see you on Tuesday."
Out.
Right?
Yeah.
See you on Tuesday. I'm like, I'm either about to end my career or thanks.
Right, and well, the problem is plans can change, right? So that's
I know. That's why I'm like, my career is about to end.
Right,
and then I double checked with the sources, like, you're fine, but just don't say anything else. I'm like, okay,
brave the storm.
Like, my point is, like, if it
I'm sorry to cut you off, Nish, quick. I know you wanted to talk. I just want to state this one thing. The reason I brought that up, right? The reason I brought that up is because there are industry insiders, but not every industry insider has the same inside information, right? Like, I remember when this Tears of the Kingdom talk came out, there were content creators saying, hey, listen, the other insiders aren't saying anything, so I think this is fake. Just because one insider hasn't heard something doesn't mean it isn't.
They have different contacts.
Exactly.
And one thing I know about a lot of the insiders, like NW Player or like even Nate the Hate, a lot of their inside information isn't coming from Nintendo. It's third-party contacts, and they all have different third-party contacts.
Yeah.
So. I'm done, by the way, so I'm not going to.
No, my big question is if it potentially like less than 30% chance announced like this month or sometime in the summer, when the heck is it going to release? What the heck is it going to release with? Because we don't is it going to release with Mario Wonder? Because I think that's kind of weird.
Some of the speculation was that it would be, if it was this year, that Mario Wonder would be a dual release, which I'm like, that's cool, but that's not a great launch game. But then it also depends on how you market it. Then there's some people that think, oh, it'll be a $500 system, so it's like a premium, and they're going to keep the Switch where it is now, so they don't really care if it sells out this holiday because they're still going to be selling Switches, and they'll just wait to drop a big game later. But then why are you releasing it now? And the only other thing that I can point to that kind of supports 2023, and again, we have everything I just said is just people just speculating out their ass. Nobody really knows. Yeah, it's copium or hopium, either way.
Yeah. And I hate that. I hate the term.
But it's true in some circumstances. Is still the one other leak we had for that Pokemon thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Where they're like, I was working on a graphics update patch for a new Switch. and they didn't outright say it was coming out before the graphics update, but we know that the update was supposedly part of a winter Pokemon DLC, which that could be early next year, and that's fine.
Could make sense, yeah.
But then you get to March, you're not really in winter anymore, and he never clarified that it was coming out with the update. It could have, but it's just it kind of sound. My take on that was it releases this holiday, and this update's just for that.
Yeah, because a summer announcement for a spring release is a very big marketing cycle, big gap from.
Maybe it'd be a summer announcement for holiday. Maybe October.
Build on that point of the marketing. I at least in recent, so ever since Metroid Prime 4, I don't know, at least in the recent pattern and trends,
here we go. I knew this was coming up.
Yeah, they just do they do this. They've been doing this thing where they only announce things the season before, or the quarter before stuff comes out. It's what they're doing with the Mario. It's what they're doing with Mario Wonder. That's what they've done.
4 to 6 months or
ever since COVID, this is the kind of the trend that they've done.
Right.
They do. Oh, we're gonna announce this thing right before stuff comes out, or maybe a few months before the season of the fiscal quarter before it comes out. At least that's what I've noticed. So I could definitely see a September announcement, and then I don't know if we get it winter, but we definitely get it sometime early spring. Yeah, he's got the drink out. That one's for me. That's not for the super.
Wait. So you're thinking that we're
I gotta do 2 now. Okay, got it.
Hold on. Yeah. Are you saying that you think for sure we're getting a Switch 2 in spring?
If I'm a gambling man, I think I'd put money down on it. This is total just my gut.
I
don't know
if you saw my theory, but my theory was that switched. It's not even a theory, I believe, right? It's just something that kind of makes sense. The whole they could come out with a Switch 2 at Metro Prime 4 in March. They could do that.
Yeah, I could see Prime 4 being the launch title. I could see another 3D Mario as well, if they drop that at some point.
Yeah.
And then again, I think it's going to be akin to, like I was saying earlier, a 3DS / DSi, where it's just a major upgrade. It's not necessarily
Game Boy Color
separate.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of. They've done that.
It's next gen, but it's marketed as not necessarily next gen.
Yeah, and we've seen. When they try to do, we've seen that failure with the Wii U, right? But when they market it correctly, but then they keep that install base, because the Wii U, when they try to go totally separate but keep that same branding, it totally failed. But if they do something similar where they keep that same install base and they're able to transfer it over and market it as this is an upgrade rather than this is something brand, whatever, I think it would do pretty well. So, but I definitely think I could see it. I could see a spring release. Genuinely, I really could.
Release too.
Yeah.
I still think spring is optimistic.
It is.
Right?
It's totally copium. It's 1000% copium. But the thing is, I
don't think it's impossible, right? I think 2023 is copium at this point. Right?
Oh, 1000%. Yeah.
And you never know. Well, I'll say 98, 99%. Right? You never really know, right?
I'll give it to the end of this month.
Yeah,
I'm giving that.
The thing is, what
it all hinges on what happens at Gamescom, I think, because everyone's they're coming to Gamescom. Something's happening at Gamescom. What is happening?
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
That's my
nothing's happening at Gamescom that isn't announced beforehand.
Okay.
Why? And it doesn't make any sense to push Mario Wonder with a premium, more powerful 4K capable system. That makes zero sense.
It's the most random.
By the way, you realize if they announce a new system, they will announce a big AAA game, even if it's not coming out this year.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that.
They could have some sort of proof of concept, they could
shadow drop F-Zero GX or something.
Watch them drop a Zelda tech demo. Again,
that would be crazy.
And we're just blown. We're insane. Holy crap, guys! They're going hyper realistic again. This is going to be the greatest Zelda, and then it's just never happens, and we get Wind Waker 2.
Yeah,
I think with the hardware.
By the way, I'd love a Wind Waker 2. I'll take that, but
I think the next Zelda
open world Wind Waker, even more open world.
I think the next Zelda has a good chance to look more realistic, though.
Yeah, I think it does.
I don't think they will.
I said more realistic.
I think
more realistic,
a good
not
chance.
realistic. Just to be clear. Like it'll still be very
stylized.
So my
More
thought, I
on the
know this is
Twilight
going
Princess
backwards, but my
side
thoughts on
than
that
the Wind
with
Waker
Tears
side.
of the Kingdom, and I've thought this for a while. After playing Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, that they're kind of pushing the envelope on what they can get away with and keep the rating they have. I just don't know how much more realistic they can go than what they're doing.
Are you
without the
saying
rating
that
being
death
dropped.
scene?
Well,
Yeah.
That death scene's intense,
Yeah.
It
but
is.
it's but
Twilight
it's
Princess
not
is-
like in your face the entire game like visuals are. So like,
I mean, I don't think realism equates to blood, gore, and violence, because Twilight Princess
no.
was a little more realistic, you know?
Well,
I
and it
think
was
they go
also
more
rated
the
T
Twilight
for
Princess
teen, the
vibe.
first rated T
Yeah.
for teen game in
Yeah,
Zelda history.
Yeah, but like that was also because of some of the scenes and not necessarily it is realistic so it was rated T. I think Twilight Princess lent into like having darker themes, darker moments and situations and cutscenes and scenarios and all that. But I feel
we
like
saw someone die in Tears of the Kingdom that I feel like
Yeah.
that was a bit of a darker cutscene than anything in Twilight Princess.
yeah,
Bro, but it's not even the
Yeah.
death scene, it's the grieving scene.
Yeah, that gets you.
Even in
That's-
Breath of the
that's-
Wild, when Zelda's like in his arms crying, like that's
Yeah.
pretty intense. Like that's like
No.
a deep sob.
Yeah, no, that is like it is interesting, right? But like when you look at the story for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like there's more. It's the most mature stories you've seen from Zelda. There's a lot more mature
sure.
themes, I should say.
I would argue Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess have I don't know. I see where you're coming from though. But yeah.
Well, so
this
okay,
is what
let me-
happens
let me-
always
let-
about the Zelda.
Let me explain the
I was
difference.
about to say if
Let me
we've come
explain the
right back,
difference.
we've
The
come back
difference,
around.
the
You can never
difference-
get
the
enough of
difference-
Zelda.
Life is like
yeah.
a circle.
It's all these squares make a circle.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the story demonstrates more real emotional suffering that people will feel at some point in their real life. Like what
Dude,
Zelda
Majora's
goes through.
Mask.
Uh-oh.
Majora's
Uh-oh.
Mask.
Here they go. Here they go.
Majora's Mask is about struggle. It's about grief.
I mean,
That's what the entire story is about.
The entire game is modeled off the five
So,
stages of grief.
like,
We're
Here we go.
What I'm saying is,
IGN almost said
I-
that's not what it's
I-
about, and that if you think that's what it's about, you missed the point of the game.
What?
So I'm just pointing out the literal guy who directed the game was like, no,
Okay.
he debunked that. He threw it
Get
out.
me a
He
quote.
said,
Well,
Get me a quote.
I can get you a quote.
Get me a quote.
I'm awaiting.
fact check.
I'm awaiting the Xenoblade quote and the Majora's Mask quote. But no, Andres, I see where you're coming from, but I could say the same thing about Majora's Mask. I could say that Majora's Mask does it more than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Majora's Mask is very dark.
I
yeah.
think it's one of the darkest games ever. Because
it's,
of,
like,
like-
very.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
I think
It
so.
just-
You mean like a darkest Nintendo
yeah,
game?
Nintendo and just
Okay.
like
I was
from a
like,
symbolism
ever?
point of
Have
view.
Here you
played
go.
Any Eldritch
Hey,
Horror?
I'll get that AGN quote
Yeah.
right now.
Let's go.
This
let's
is
go.
back on March 4th, 2015, in an interview with Game Informer.
Let's do it.
Here's the full exchange. Game
Verbatim.
Informer says some fans speculate that Majora's Mask is a metaphor for the stages of grief. The town folks are in denial. The moon falling. The Deku King is punishing the monkey out of anger. The ghost is in the Snow Temple is bargaining for the return to the world of the living. Lulu in the Zora Temple is battling with depression, and the final temple could be considered acceptance as it wraps up Link's journey. Was this considered during development, or is this just a fan interpretation? AGL Numa. It's certainly true that each one of these different episodes you talked about has a different emotional cast to it. One feels like it's tinged with sadness and another with anger. That certainly was intentional. But I also want to point out that it's not that each one of those episodes only has that single emotion they are conveying. There are certainly other notes we're trying to hit as well. And the reason we did this is to allow the player to experience that emotion, to give them a chance to look into the emotional scene and react to it the way that the game as a result. Link is not dead.
Yeah, I don't agree that Link is dead
Because
either.
the
but
theory,
I don't
theory is
think he
based on...
debunked the grief
Oh,
theory.
but we're
either.
not talking about that.
Yeah.
I know, but the
No.
but the 5 stages of grief. Okay, I can speak on this
No,
directly
no,
because
that's
my
not what
website
I was
Zelda Informer
saying.
created the theory. We created the theory The 5 stages of grief is based on Link being dead.
No,
Well,
no.
I don't.
It's
I-
about
that's
Link
not
going through
how
the
I
5 stages.
interpreted
No,
Majora's Mask.
But
The 5
my
stages of grief are about
interpretation-
Termina's grief. It's not
Sure.
Link's grief. It's
Well,
not anyone else's
well,
grief.
so
But that's
my theory.
Here we
on
go.
it-
This
I'm-
is gonna
I-
go
we're
around
supposed
and
to be-
round.
I do have a
All
theory.
I know-
It's
You
a
heard it
quick
from
thing. It's very
himself.
quick. It's very
He
quick.
said that
It's
that's
very
not
quick.
it. That's not the only emotional
Yeah.
tone in
Sure.
each area.
But
I don't think it
I
has
just-
anything to do.
He
with
mentioned
Link being
sadness
dead.
and anger as intentional, but that was the only ones he said were
So-
intentional.
Listen, but this is not about Link being dead, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
My theory, right, is that the grieving, if there is that, is related to Navi dying. Navi dies at the end of Ocarina of Time. He's searching for a friend that he can't find.
David, I don't think
Navi doesn't
I-
die.
just
So
leave. We
wait,
don't
do
know
you
that.
think that Termina's grief is a reflection of how Link is feeling?
That's the
Oh,
theory.
I see.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I always
I've
just
seen
thought
that theory
that
before,
Termina
yeah.
itself is grieving. Termina sees
And
the
she's not
moon falling.
necessarily dead. It could just
it's
be
not only that, it's
lost
the
there, but-
Skull Kid's grieving too. The Skull Kid lost his friends. The Skull
Yeah.
Kid's friends were the Giants, and the Giants were like,
Well-
"Hey, we gotta protect Termina," and he's like, "I lost my friends.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this." And then the Skull Kid's grief is like symbolized by what's happening to
For
Termina.
sure.
And
Yeah, I
you
think
see
the whole
that like
game is about that, right?
and
But-
the quotes at the end with the Moon Children really kind of explain that a lot more. So that's
Here's
that's
another
where I-
thing I'll bring
that's
up,
where I
right?
got it from.
Even if they didn't specifically design to
Nate's like, "Well."
perfectly demonstrate the 5 stages of grief, what's great about the 5 stages of grief is that they can be observed in real life
Yeah,
and in stories all the time, because it's something that happens naturally. When you're naturally depicting suffering and grieving, these different stages happen naturally, right? So
and
it
it
may
doesn't.
not-
It's not a set order. It can happen in whatever order. It
Right,
usually,
so-
yeah. It always
Yeah.
ends with acceptance, though. So
yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah.
It may just
We're all
be something
agreeing.
that happens naturally when you're just
Same.
showcasing
Yeah.
grief in the story.
yeah.
Anyway,
just think
so-
it's
I'm
symbolism.
trying to get the
Majora's
original
Mask
because
on
he
Switch
said
2.
more. He said more on this, and I'm trying to get it, but the Game Informer link's broken because, of course, it's an old article.
Yeah.
So they changed their thing, and then I was like, "Oh, here's the Zelda Informer." Wait, Zelda Informer doesn't exist anymore. So I'm trying to like get someone who actually because he said more on it specifically that if people thought that was what was going on, I at least my recollection because I was the one that reported on the damn thing at Zelda Informer was that my recollection was he said something like if you think each of those areas is the 5 stages of grief, then you're actually missing out on our intended emotions of those areas, and you're missing other aspects.
Okay.
Which is cool. But my whole thing is with that theory, and again, I was one of the people that helped edit and publish that theory back in the day. That's why I mentioned it's related to Link is Dead, because that's what started it with the Link is Dead theory. That he's going through the 5 stages of grief
remember
to
Game
accept his
Theory?
own death.
They
Wait,
popularized that idea.
regardless, it's not. We're not
Yeah,
gonna
the
talk
Map
about
Path
that.
theory was.
We're not talking. No, the Map
Yeah.
Path theory is completely plagiarized from Zelda Informer. I don't want to get into that. He stole everything from us and gave us no credit. I'm not even shitting you. You can go look at publication dates. We published it 3 years before his video, and he gave us 0 credit.
Dang.
And everything he referenced are direct sources in the video or in our article. So I don't
So
want
you
to
don't
get.
think you don't think it was a similar.
By the way,
theory
I like Matt Pat in general, but I'm just saying he is not very willing when he makes mistakes like that to fess up to it. He just moves on because he was a bigger deal at the time than our website was. But anyways, that's besides the point. I don't want to get into the credit on that. By the way, and I wasn't the one who wrote it, so I'm not the. You think I'm furious? Imagine what the author is. He's always been really mad about that one.
Twitch
but-
2.
But obviously,
No,
Matt
but
put forward the Link is dead theory, but that's what it was all based on, was that Link is dead. But it really doesn't matter who's dead. The point, the general point was that you go through the 5 stages of grief, right?
I do see where you're coming from, though, Andres. That Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom show grief in a more like a real kind of sense than other Zelda.
It's just kind of the direction of the series. Like Majora's Mask is kind of like an offshoot, and it's definitely like a very dark game. There's so many crazy. I mean, you're totally right, right?
Yeah.
It's but it is just like the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom show like more realistic, tangible.
Even
emotions.
Skyward Sword does that too, like very emotional scenes that happen in Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I mean, like for example, what's his name in Skyward Sword? I know he's based off the owl, but is it Gapora?
Yeah, Master Gapora. Yeah,
like you see his kind of like emotional struggle from losing his daughter, right? Like that is a very realistic like suffering, right? So I mean, yeah, I think the Zelda series has been kind of moving in that direction, but obviously there have been games that have ebbed and flowed, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Switch 2.
There's so many
Turbo graphics
about that damn
blast processing.
I have a question about Switch 2.
8K 120 FPS.
I have a question, especially like
ask away
to Andres when I saw your podcast on Monday and you were talking about the TSA leak. Like, where did that come from? Because I tried to look for it online, I couldn't find it. Like, I'm just curious how you figured that out, and like where that came from.
That wasn't even. I was just mentioning that in passing because I haven't even done research on that. I think I saw that on Switch Force. So you have to ask him. But my basic understanding of it, just basically just me from remembering that, right? Like it was just someone supposedly saw a dev kit. I mean, we could probably Google it.
A dev kit in a TSA line?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, they pull them to the side.
And they saw the controller. They saw the controller with like side-scrolling shoulder buttons or something.
With the scrolling shoulder.
Yeah.
Shoulder
That'd
buttons.
be wild. Yeah. Some TSA. He's like, oh, so you get the new Nintendo console.
And then people didn't. But like, there was no way to really prove if what he was saying was true or not. But supposedly he shared image of his TSA badge, which still doesn't prove anything. Just proves he works at TSA. So
yeah. My whole thing was, and every background check you can do on 4chan, which is it's very limited to like hashtags and all this. It looked like it lined up that it was the same person posting the TSA badge information, which people thought was kind of weird. Like, why would he put this public information out there? You can now identify exactly who he is, what airport he works at, yada yada yada.
Yeah, true.
But also, apparently, it's not a TSA violation, so I guess it really doesn't matter. And he wasn't under NDA, so it's not like he can get in trouble for it from Nintendo. But what I found interesting was if any of that was true, because like my whole thing is, why would if I made up a story, okay, I just completely made something up and put it on 4chan, which anyone can do. Why would I be so offended? Because he acted offended that people didn't believe he worked to the TSA, and that's why he provided the credentials. It's almost like this actually happened. I'm so tired of everyone saying bullshit. Let me show you what I can show, because I couldn't take a damn picture of it and prove that I actually am who I say I am. It makes me wonder if like maybe there was some truth to it, but also does it really mean anything? Like some people have said, well, why would Nintendo go through a normal airport with one of these things? I'm like, they're just
where else would
traveling.
They go? Would they FedEx?
It's an international flight. They're just going to their next destination to drop off dev kits in person. Like that's totally for unreleased consoles. It actually is common to drop off dev kits in person. So it's like and people conflating that. Oh, it was a screen. No, he specifically said it was a box. Yes, that's what dev kits are. They're a box. Like the dev kit for Switch was a box. It wasn't a screen. Like that's what dev kits are. The interesting part was obviously the only interesting part on that was by the way, the only interesting part, if any of it was true, was just the fact that on the shoulder buttons was scroll wheels. Like that was it. That was the only interesting part of the whole thing. And people can trace that back to an old NX patent that had scroll wheels. Yeah. So like it's not even a new idea. So would Nintendo revisit it? I don't know. I could see the only thing I'm willing to say is when I look at the Switch today, and you look at the shoulder buttons, you got the normal, you have the normal here, but then you got this thin one. You know, this thin one being a scroll wheel doesn't sound that crazy to me.
I was trying to talk about that on my podcast on Monday. No one was vibing me. You get it.
Like
we agree on something.
We agree on something. Anyways,
well, it can also
this could easily be scroll wheel. Like, look at this. It's already perfectly designed for me to scroll.
I agree.
And these aren't that great anyways. Why can't they be scroll wheels?
As long as you don't make it also be VR and ZL that's fine.
And maybe that's the innovation. And if that's the innovation, it's pretty much exactly what we have now with just an extra scroll functionality, which is awesome. Imagine a new Zelda game. That's how we change weapons. Scroll wheel. That'd be sick.
That's true. There's a lot of
That'd be
like
so
modern
sick.
games where it's where
We
you
need
press a
precedent.
button and then you flip through a giant menu.
Menu.
Of scrolling.
Like, you could replace that.
Yeah.
You could scroll the weapons. Oh, it'd be
That
so
would be
sick.
sick.
in
And you
so
know what would
many
be
games.
great
That
if
would
it's
be
not
sick.
like a fluid wheel,
Yeah,
but
if,
like it
if
has
it's more like a click.
It's like a weapon
like
wheel.
a
Yeah.
notches almost.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
mouses have that.
It's like a mouse wheel. It's like a mouse wheel.
Yeah, it's just like a mouse wheel.
Yep,
But you
yeah.
can have
that
unlocked
makes
and
perfect
locked
sense.
ones.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, like
But
this
what if
one.
you can
Right
get
now this
infinity
clicks,
scroll
and
on
then if I
it?
press this button, it's smooth. But
Yeah,
obviously,
infinity
for
scroll.
the most part, you'd want it
Yeah.
to click if you're using it for a controller. So like,
That'd be
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
Yeah. I mean,
It's not a
I don't know
bad
if I would
idea,
call
that's
it
the thing.
crazy. I would call it a
it
subtle
makes sense.
improvement.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
but it's something that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, and I
Because
think
like, you're not getting rid of the button press. It's still there. You can still press a button.
it's just getting more options, and I
Yeah.
think options are great.
And these little tiny things are so shitty anyways. Give me the option. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, maybe force feedback.
Yeah, especially
triggers.
especially on the triggers.
Yeah, force feedback, analog triggers. Better
You know,
rumble.
obviously, give me Hall sensing sticks, please.
An audio jack. Come on.
I don't know if they're gonna do that.
Oh,
I don't
come
know.
on, but
It's a
that's
dream.
like that is such.
Just
listen.
make the headphone port a dual port.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta really do. They used to do that back in the day. Just bring it back.
What do you mean by a dual port? I don't understand.
So they
Exactly.
used to, so headphone jacks back in the day used to be dual audio jacks. You could plug in one plug and use a microphone and
Yeah.
basically use a headset.
Oh,
both.
okay.
Out of one plug, or you could just
Okay.
use a mic, or you can just use a headset.
Oh, okay.
Ours only does headsets.
Well, the problem is but it's
Used
on
to
the
be that.
Switch. It's on the Switch. You can't. Your Pro controller doesn't have that, so you have to plug into the Switch.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense. You're playing in
No, it
dock
doesn't.
mode.
It doesn't. It makes sense. It makes sense that they don't put it on. Like, fine, you don't want to put it on the Joy Cons. I mean, I argue you can get rid of the IR camera and put it down there, but whatever, fine. But when I am in dot mode and I decide to buy an official Nintendo Pro controller, it should have an audio.
That's what I'm saying.
It should have a jack.
That's what I'm saying. Either
I'm
that
glad
or
they
at
support
least
Bluetooth finally, but
at least have like a Nintendo branded Bluetooth headset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Or-
they did with the DSi. Well, it wasn't Bluetooth, but or was it? I think it might have been Bluetooth. It was like a dongle. It was like you plug something into the headphone jack, and then that adapter was Bluetooth, something like that.
And there is there are patents for like spatial audio, better spatial audio rendering that Nintendo has, so they might have like even more reason to like have proper headset support.
sure, absolutely.
Very well could.
Yeah. I guess one point to make to just say regarding this all this Switch 2 stuff, right?
Mhm.
Going back to that developer portal of that image that we know it's fake now because people who do have access to it can have confirmed that it doesn't exist.
Yep.
It what that goes to show is
Cool
that
as it
there
would
are
be.
what it goes to show is there are people out there creating fake leaks now. That's where we're in.
Yeah.
So that whole TSA thing, it could just be a guy who works for TSA who just want to get some clout and maybe got mad when he realized that people weren't just going to believe him blindly. Like, fact of the matter
That happened with the
Yep, it
Advance
happens.
Wars release date.
It happens.
Just like in the very beginning of the year, like people were like, "Oh, Advance Wars is gonna get shadow dropped right after the direct or something," but that didn't
Advance
turn
Wars,
out to
it's
happen.
coming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like 2016, before the announcement, we saw like different controllers, like that glass, like ovular controller. You guys remember
Oh.
that?
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 That was a nightmare.
You're starting to make my dreams get a little interesting tonight. I'm not sure how this is
You
going.
don't want this.
Look, I'm gonna be sleeping and scroll wheels are gonna be in my head.
Oh, the scroll wheels, yes, but not the oval screen.
No, dude,
that
the
is a
oval screen
nightmare.
don't
Would
bother
they-
me either, man. Bring
Would
it
they put
back.
control wheels
You're
on
wrong.
the Pro controller. Be the Pro Plus controller, maybe.
You're wrong. I love it. You're just
So,
wrong. A
like-
thing we've never used. A prototype that existed at one point we never used.
Yeah. I think if they have a gimmick, something like that would be nice, but I still want a hybrid. I still want to like flip it off the dock and like hold it in my hand. Like this,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
Switch is
Switch.
in general.
I
is
want
just-
a hybrid.
I
just
can't see
want
them
that
going away
hybrid.
from the hybrid
Yeah.
concept.
No,
Yeah, I
can't
can't.
see it.
Yeah,
That,
Not now,
they,
anyways.
yeah.
if they
Own the market for it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
So PC devices are trying to do it, and guess what? They're still not
can't.
selling that great.
They still can't. Yeah.
Like they're
So-
doing fine. They're like Steam Deck's doing enough to still exist, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But it ain't 125 million. Like there's just Nintendo has the market.
You want to know how
Keep
Nintendo
going.
can guarantee that they're not going to fail with next gen? By
Call it
just
Switch
doing
U.
well, even if they did that, they
It
would be
still would be
fine.
more successful than Wii U.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a low bar though.
So I think the main reason Nintendo is so successful now is because they have unified their gaming divisions and they're no longer spreading themselves too thin.
Yeah.
Now they have consistent releases. It's all on one platform.
Yeah.
And facilitated the hybrid switch.
Sure.
So as long as they continue being a hybrid system, which adds more value to the games because they're the home console experience but portable at the same time, and that they just have a consistent lineup of games, I think they're always going to do well. Are they going to do as well as Switch? I don't know, but they're always going to be fine. There's never going to be a
I
scenario
want
where we're
Nintendo
like,
to get to a point that every gen's 100 mil.
that would be amazing.
That's PlayStation.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think
Consistency, meet expectations. You don't like PlayStation doesn't always do wild things. Nintendo felt like they had to for a long time, except now Nintendo, you found a market that's basically just you. That market hasn't gone anywhere. Keep serving the market and you can continue. Just listen. What does the market want? Okay, it's not really that hard. We want better controllers, more powerful hardware, somehow make it 400 or less. Cool. Keep bringing the games. Somehow we're able to now we can get PlayStation 5 exclusives downported. Cool. We're good. Like it's not like the path is so obvious. And I know Nintendo doesn't like to just go, oh, more power. We got to have some big gimmick. Fine, maybe the mouse scroll wheels are your gimmick. I don't know. You don't need that big of a gimmick this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like just do what you're already doing, but make it better.
The console itself is still just like the hybrid thing is just such a powerful gimmick that it literally could last forever or for as long as
You basically caught on to the iPhone.
Yeah.
You don't just stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
I
iterate.
would say
keep making it better.
Absolutely. I would say the fact that we have these scenarios where games come out and they sell 10 million in 3 days, or where they can have multiple games that they published and made in a year sell 20 plus million.
Yeah.
I think that goes to show that Nintendo's at a level right now, like the brand awareness is so strong
The movies,
that the Mario movie, like
theme parks,
it just kind of feels like they have this huge like ball of momentum.
everything's going their way.
It's kind of like even when they screw up, it's fine because as long as they keep going, it's gonna be fine. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried. Just
People use that sometimes to say, "Oh, well, that's why they want to extend Switch as long as they can because they don't know for sure." I'm like, no, you show confidence. You show confidence. You need to be a confident Nintendo. We are on top of the world, and we're not afraid to give you the new because we know it's time. We don't care. Oh yeah, we just sold 10. You're right. Oh, it was the best selling June ever. And you're right. You have some momentum. The best selling June on record for Switch in Japan. Cool. You have momentum, and yet you're still predicting 15 million or less this year. Next year will probably be 10 million or less. Yeah, you're on the downtrend. It's time. Be confident. People have a fervor for our games. Cool. They also have a fervor for hardware. They're just waiting for the new one. Drop the new one. Still, don't drop support for Switch. Don't be stupid.
No, support it for
support it. Give it another year. Milk those sales. But also, you can get the new device out. Show confidence in that device. Show confidence in your brand. And I think they're I am confident that Furukawa knows this because he's a businessman and can read a room.
Yeah.
He's not a creative like Iwata was, where Iwata couldn't always read the room because he always wanted to create. And I don't think Furukawa cares as much about creation. He cares more about, hey, we are on top of the world. Why are we stopping? Why are we? Oh, Miyamoto's got this crazy concept where we put our hands in these gloves and they have like these every time we move our joint, there's like a different button hit. Okay, that's cool. Also, how about we release that as like an add-on, like
Nintendo
Labo?
Labo.
Yeah.
It's an add-on. It's not the selling point. Come on.
And the Nintendo did a lot of really great innovations thanks to the way the Joy-Cons work, like Nintendo Labo, Ring Fit Adventure. Like those are some really
Even
cool
dabbled
things.
in AR a little bit with like Mario Kart Home Circuit.
Yeah, it's another
that is
fantastic
neat. That
one.
is a neat way of them doing that.
And you could argue like the things they did during this generation are more innovative than before in various ways, not just with crazy like controller stuff, but also
a lot of that was like optional, and it wasn't the selling point. It was like, hey, we can do this on top, but we're not forcing that to be why people buy it, and it's awesome that way. Like example, some people think, oh, the next step's VR. That's fine. Let's say they do a full VR thing, and it's a tablet that slides in, but it's got the right screen at the right refresh rate with the right power. Cool. That's not bundled in. This isn't Xbox Connect. It is not the selling point of the system. It is a thing you release a couple of years in and you see if people are interested.
Yeah. Do you think there's a possibility?
Like PlayStation VR. They don't need that to be successful for PlayStation to be successful.
Do you think there's a possibility that Switch 2 doesn't release until 2025? Because I think that's really, really, really pushing it. I think even holiday 2024
to sound like Zach from Switch Force over there, bringing up 2025.
Well, he's not. There are others that feel that way.
I think holiday 2024
growing
is
contingent of people that think they're going to milk this system till it's dead.
So this is what I think. I think every year that passes, you have people that are just going to say, "I think it's coming out another year later." Like there are people that just won't believe something's going to happen until it happens. Yeah. And I think for some,
look at the Switch Pro chatter. Look at the Switch Pro chatter. It didn't happen.
Well, I mean that's a whole other thing, but I think some people just don't want to be disappointed. So really it's safer to just wait and be surprised. Like some people don't like to speculate. I don't know why they click on the videos that are speculation, but
yeah. Well, I think some of that's their social media. We respond to things we hate because deep down we sometimes find a little fun in it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There's some NBA chatter that happens on Twitter. I sometimes respond to. I shouldn't, just because I think it's kind of fun.
Oh, nasty, man!
Yeah, it gets really nasty with the
those
NBA.
Boston fans.
Gotta get in the little nitty gritty.
Yeah, Boston right now going through some massive changes at the moment with Grant Williams and Marcus Smart out.
Yeah,
Kristaps Porzingis in, and then like I saw a comment today where some Boston fan was talking about, oh, dude, Kristaps Porzingis he's gonna destroy Giannis. He's the Giannis stopper, and then. It was like Giannis Muse, part of Stat Muse that puts up, by the way, Giannis averages 40 against Kristaps in his career. And I'm just sitting there like, who cares? I just sat there. I literally responded to the Giannis Muse. I'm like, I know this is all in good fun, but who really gives a shit? We got to get to the Eastern Conference Finals before we worry about Boston, right? Right now, we can't even get past the Heat. So let's not.
On that,
the Heat might be getting Dame. So look, let's just worry about what we got to worry. Granted, I think with Dame, you're not going to be an 8 seed, so maybe we don't got to worry about that.
I think the AC was a whole outlier, though. We were just injured all year.
Right? Yeah, it was totally an outlier. An outlier. Yeah. But anyways,
it wasn't a fair matchup for you guys. I mean, it was just you guys got injured. You played a fake 8th seed.
We got injured, and then our coach's brother died in the middle of the series. That wasn't. That we didn't know till after, but explains why Bud wasn't calling timeouts. He just wasn't even into the game.
I hope we don't play each other in the first round again. I'd rather us play in the conference finals because every year it's we either like bounce you or you bounce us. Like it's been back and forth the last 4 years.
And it's funny because whoever wins goes to the finals.
Or
when it comes to
actually, technically, whoever eliminates Milwaukee always ends up in the finals in the East the last 5 years.
Are we good?
Or Milwaukee goes.
Yeah, you're back. I see you.
All right, cool.
That's what we use it as Bucks fans to be like.
My
you just disappeared for a bit.
The NBA runs through Milwaukee because you have to beat us to get to the finals. I'm like, yeah, but when it's in round 1, I mean, I don't know if you can really see.
Yeah.
But then it happened again. The Heat went to the finals and they got a little bit embarrassed, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Denver did that to everyone the whole postseason run. They spanked
everyone.
Yeah, they were the Golden State Warriors. They just spanked everyone. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, nothing.
They swept the Lakers, right?
So it pops about the Xenoblade.
Yeah.
So back to
this is a
Xenoblade.
Nintendo podcast, guys.
Yeah, Andres and I sometimes get in little NBA tangents.
I'm about to say, wow.
What if they announced an NBA
Let's talk
Jam
about Elden Ring,
remake?
Flam. Let's
No,
talk
yeah,
about
okay, so
by the way,
remake.
By the way, once the NBA chatter came up, I want to note we increased by 10 viewers.
That's right.
point now. I'm
What
just giving the
I think,
people
I
what
think
they
it's
want.
The Nintendo Switch
We're
2 thing,
bringing
because every
the
time we talk
heat.
about it, we go down, and then when we went on the Zelda tangent, it went back up.
Yeah,
It's
oh,
anytime we
my
talk
crowd
about the
loves
Switch.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the main topic today would have been let's talk about what the next big Zelda game is going to be, we would have had like 250 people here because everyone's ready to have that conversation that beat Tears of the Kingdom.
Even though we're a month after
Yeah,
the game,
but they're just
out.
ready. They want to know like
Their
what's
bellies are
where do
full
you
and they're
go from
thinking
here?
about
I'm
their
like,
next
I
dinner.
don't know. I can't have that conversation until I get to the end. So that's why it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
I do want to say about Switch 2.
Yeah.
The reason I don't want it in 2025 is because the gap
It's way too
between
late.
Switch games and current generation games then, like PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox Series X, games that are playable on the Steam Deck, it's going to be such a big, massive gap that it's, I mean, Switch games are still going to be good, and Nintendo games are always good, always fun. 2025 is going to create such a massive gap between Nintendo and everything else. And again, Nintendo doesn't compete. Nintendo doesn't care about everyone else or anyone else, but it's gonna feel very weird playing a game
Never
on my
know.
PS5
Jarring.
and then coming
They
back.
might
to
they
my Switch.
might start caring if that Microsoft deal goes through. We're getting
Yeah,
Call of
and like
Duty.
I don't care
Yeah.
about graphics. I don't care about frame rates, but
I do.
I mean, I care. I care to an extent. It's
I
not
always
a deal
care.
breaker for me, though.
I mean,
It's
I
not a-
look. I got
what I mean to say,
gaming
it's
other
not a deal
devices here.
breaker.
I clearly like visuals and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
and hyper.
Yeah.
Nintendo
Like,
games.
look,
Yeah, what I
if
mean-
you could
yeah.
give me this in my hand with 4K, 120 FPS, maxed out settings on all games, dude,
That'd
that's
be
sick.
wild.
But also,
what
it's
I
not
mean to
going to be
say,
$400.
it's
It's going to be
not a
like
deal
$2,000.
Yeah.
With some oven
Yeah.
mittens because your hands will burn off.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be $2,000. It'll be 3 times as thick as this because the heatsink alone is going to be like this. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not
Like, the
feasible
thing-
You'll
technology.
need, you know how like cameramen have like those like suits to help them hold all that weight.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you'll need to play.
Yeah,
a
the
Switch-
hold
a
the
Switch
damn
with
things
that
that'll
kind
weigh
of
like
power.
20 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
if this is still around in 2025, I'll still play games on it. I'll still
It will
enjoy
be.
it because like they're gonna be good
It'll
games.
still be around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those, I
Yeah,
bet.
I
What I
think
mean
I
is
don't
it
think they'll
as the
stop selling it
flagship,
till
though. If it's
they
still
might
the
still
flagship
sell it
in
until
2025.
2027.
If there's
That's
no
when I
Switch
think they'll
2
stop.
at that point,
Yeah.
because like the gap
gonna
is gonna
sell
be still
both.
big, and
Yeah.
I think it's just a little silly to
I think what's
push it.
sick about this
Yeah.
next system is there's a lot of speculation around the T239 and Orin and all these possibilities. And it kind of sounds like, based on the power profiles of what we know from the NVIDIA leak, that we can get something as powerful as a Steam Deck, which what's one of the big things with the Steam
Yeah.
Deck is it's kind of bulky. Right? It's kind of
Yeah,
bulky. It's
it
got a
is.
really big heat sink. And it's
also
kind of bulky
loud.
because and loud. Yeah, because it's dealing with all that heat. Well, apparently this can do even better efficiency than that. And they could
of
literally
the
end up
AI?
with the exact same form factor as Switch today,
is it because
but
of
it's
the
as
AI?
powerful as a Steam Deck. And that to me,
Is it AI?
being
Jesus.
able
Yeah,
to
it's
keep
the AI.
And then throw in
Be-
AI upscaling.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
yeah,
AI
with
upscaling,
AI
yeah.
upscaling. Yeah. So like that's the thing is if they can keep it sleek, which I think is part of the appeal of Switch, is that it's a sleek device. It's not small. It's not necessarily meant to be put in your pocket, even though for some people it can be. But it's a slick looking device. It feels like something you're
It fits
willing
in
to
my
take
pocket
with
right
you.
now.
It's
I literally
not.
put it in
Yeah,
my
when you
pocket.
put a grip on like this, it gets bulky. But again,
Yeah.
redesign
It's
the
pretty easy
controllers,
to
so then
throw
you're
it in
gonna
a
worry
little
about that.
bag or a little case,
Yeah.
and it's easy to throw in a backpack or even a
It's-
purse or whatever.
Look, when you take off the Joy-Cons, it's not that much bigger than a normal tablet in terms of thickness.
Yeah, it
So if
really
they can keep the same thickness and even same screen size, I think the screen size is fine, but they get that
Mhm.
extra power that's a Steam Deck, but at that size, I think that's a key. That's a key to success. Steam Deck is plenty powerful enough. It gets all the third-party games, all of them.
Mm.
There's not like a single one that doesn't run on Steam Deck. It gets
Yeah.
all of them. Even the ones that are only on new gen, and it still runs on Steam Deck. And what is Steam Deck? Steam Deck is as powerful, slightly better than a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And that's what using AMD's technology, which isn't technically mobile technology.
Yeah.
What NVIDIA's making is. So with ARM and NVIDIA's GPUs, I think they could pull it off. And
Agreed.
that to me is the big key to, hey, we're not giving you a device that fundamentally looks significantly different than the Nintendo Switch. Outside of there'll be something, the controllers or something will look different.
Mhm.
To have it have a bit more distinct look on the box than just here's a screen with Joy-Cons again. But I truly think that Nintendo is going to differentiate it in the way they differentiated the OLED. Remember when the OLED came out and the box looks so different?
Yeah.
Everything. That's what they'll do this time. It'll just be so obvious. The box will be completely different. It'll be very obvious branding. It might not be Switch 2. Something.
Even the V2 Switch.
They'll literally put
the
4K on the damn box, like PlayStation 5 put 8K on the box, which isn't actually a realistic.
More comfortable controllers.
Yeah, and they'll just be like, today's games, or like there'll be maybe even a catchphrase on there or something.
You know, it would be insane if
it's gonna be just fine. That's all they need to do.
This would be an incredible sell, I think. So first off, for those worried about the whole PS4 level thing or Steam Deck, it will be around that power in terms of raw output. But if you account for new hardware and AI upscaling, the games are going to look and run better.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It'll be more modern architecture. Like I know it's like Steam Deck was built with impressive technology. Yes, but the technology is at this point 2-3 years old. This technology is not 2-3. This is still cutting edge, like not even out yet technology.
So while it wouldn't be as powerful as say a PS4 Pro or an Xbox, I forget what Xbox One X or something, it's not going to be that powerful. But it may feel like an in between because of how efficient it is.
Yeah, and with the DLSS on top, you can start to be like, okay, it's more comparable to a Series S, and that gets everything. It'll get everything.
Yeah.
I mean, relative to whether companies decide to put
it'll be comparable. And the
power won't be an excuse to not have a third-party game.
Yeah, it'll be. We don't like Nintendo.
It might be 30 FPS again, but it won't be an excuse to not have.
Yeah,
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But imagine this, right? So imagine they tout this level of visual fidelity. It's more ergonomic. It has these new controller enhancements. So they're going to pivot it as like a premium at first, probably.
Yeah, that's why it's like it could be a $400 device.
But also imagine they tout better battery life.
Oh.
I know that's a tall ask. That is a very tall ask.
I think
the OLED's battery life is wild to me.
OLED's battery life is fantastic. If it goes
so good.
If they have the same battery life as Switch OLED,
if
they can even maintain the same battery life with that increase in power, that's such a big selling point.
Yeah,
that is one of the knocks on Steam Deck is that you only get like 90 minutes.
Yeah, especially if you're playing something like
you get 3 hours now, 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I sat on a 6-hour flight to Seattle for playing Tears of the Kingdom, and my Switch died at the very end of it. I mean, that's pretty freaking good, I think.
Yeah,
I got through the entire flight playing the beefiest game the system has.
Yeah, they get that battery life up there.
Yeah.
So
and you're on an OLED,
and then when you dock, by the way, all this performance people are talking about is mostly in handheld. When you dock the damn thing, it's going to be higher clocked. So like, oh man.
Right. That's a whole other thing.
Yep.
That makes a big difference. Yeah.
And it would be sick if they decide to future-proof this one where they enable the USB-C port to actually potentially go back to that idea of the external computing device where they're like, hey, maybe we do a Pro model later and it's just a new dock.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually.
Having gives you a better GPU in the new dock.
Yeah, like you have the handheld mode, and it could even the handheld mode could operate at like OLED capacity or something, but when you dock it,
that's when it
starts putting up,
this
really
is what I'm
pretty
afraid of.
Fun stuff. What's up?
Nintendo, what we're talking about is still going to be pretty expensive. It's going to be at least $400. Yeah. And I sat there and I'm like, okay, Nintendo's got to cut costs, right? They got to cut costs at wherever they can at launch to try to make it profitable. There's something that tells me they're going to go away from the OLED screen, and that's going to be another mid-gen upgrade. If they're going to go back to LCD because it's just cheaper.
Yeah.
They also could do 1080p. They could save set 1080p as the upgrade and still do OLED.
But then that affects battery life
because Steam Deck doesn't have an OLED screen, so like to make the Switch differentiate itself from like a Steam Deck, I think an OLED screen would be a nice selling point. I don't know.
It's tough, man.
Maybe they'll worry about that later.
I just want to look, Nintendo. I know it's not coming this year. I shouldn't say that. I'm pretty confident it's not coming this year. I've been Team 2024 for a while.
There should be Vegas odds on this stuff.
But if it's coming this year, there probably is. Yeah, there probably is somewhere. All I'm going to say is if it's coming this year, just show me the damn thing. Because I want to speculate on something tangible. You show me something tangible, we can have a real conversation on all the possibilities. Because one thing we do know, when Nintendo shows us, they ain't telling us jack shit for specs. They never do it. They never tell us specs. Doesn't happen. We get the specs when people tear the damn thing down and tell us.
We might get 4K.
Yeah, they might say 4K. They might maybe might mention
If we're
DLSS,
lucky.
but they don't really. If you think about it, like there's FSR in some games, and they don't really talk about the FSR. We just find out on our own.
They may mention system memory. They'll be like, "Oh, there's 64 gigabytes of flash memory."
Yeah, they might mention. Yeah, they might mention some of the storage. Yeah,
Yeah.
They might bring that up because they think that's a selling point.
And by the way, it's not going to be impressive.
Watch it be. Oh, there's still only 32 gigabytes, which I would just be pissed. But then they go,
wild.
Especially since they've already given us more with the OLED. Like, what the hell? But then they go, but we have dual micro SD. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good now. Holy shit! I'm gonna go buy some cheap 1 terabytes right now. I got 2 terabytes at launch. Let's go. But that's a dream scenario. By the way, it's not, dude. I have my camera has dual, like SIM card slots or micro SD card slots. Like, let's go. We can. It exists
when Nintendo does it.
Yeah, Nintendo does it. You're like, whoa, Steam Deck doesn't have this. No, they have 2 USB-C ports. Oh, you thought 2 was impressive, but we have 2 now. Wait, what? What?
Yeah.
The top and the bottom. We like to give options. This is the options console. Yeah, Nintendo give options. So we're gonna get Xbox Game Pass? No. We don't give those kind of options. Hey, did you upgrade the eShop? No, it's the exact same eShop.
You under
still no music.
No,
That's not overestimating Nintendo too much. Anyways.
Yeah, really.
I mean, hey, if it's the exact same eShop, then I'm very confident we have backwards compatibility.
Yeah, really.
There's the one positive.
Thank
No,
God.
we didn't
I hope
overhaul
so.
anything. And by the way, we have all this power and the eShop still lags.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Then we find out the eShop hasn't been running
Mic
locally at all this whole time. It's all on their servers, and that's why it lags. They're just streaming the eShop into us.
Ugh.
And I'd be like, are you?
It's all a remote client.
Wait
That's
a
all it
second.
is.
That's why it's laggy, because it's literally an internet interface over a server. Oh my! Whoa! You just download the data in. What do we do? All right, Nintendo. That's okay. Hey, you know what? I can't complain too much. All Steam is this day is just Chrome. For those who don't know,
Dude, you can't even find. You can
like
search
Steam.
the
Steam is
exact
literally
name
just
on
a Chrome
Steam.
browser. That's all
You
it
can
is.
just search the exact same name of something on Steam and you won't find it, but then you put it in Google Chrome and it'll come up. It's so weird. It's so weird. I don't know
and
why
it's weird
works,
because
but-
what makes it weirder is they rebuilt Steam to literally it's a Chromium browser. That's all Steam is now. It's literally built. It's just built on Chrome, and yet the search is worse than Chrome, and I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's weird.
I don't know. Maybe there's probably some logistics or technical reasons or something that'll break
Next
things.
episode,
Next episode, we talk about Steam for some reason. We'll have 5 viewers.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for the podcast tonight. Thank you to all the people who super chatted. I'll just give a quick shout out, maybe.
And
Oh yeah,
7
wait. I have a way to
shots.
do that now. Sorry.
Quick
Wait,
shout out or
take-
quick shot?
Taker. I mean, hey, if another super chat slips in, that's another shot. As I'm already hiccuping. Taker 610, Kitsune 84, Samuel A twice as well. Thank you guys for your contributions to the show. Hopefully, we address some of your guys' questions. We usually don't address specific questions unless it's bringing up a point that we really want to address. We did happen to address a couple of them just through the natural conversation, but you guys are awesome. What we'll do is we'll go around the table. You guys can advertise your stuff, what you got coming up, and we'll get it signed out here. Let's start with our new guy, Flam.
Me?
Oh, geez. Here we go.
You got another shot for yourself.
The professional Nintendo simp.
Yeah, so professional. I put professional in quotes.
Yeah.
So, yes, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm a variety streamer. You guys can follow me. I'm primarily on Twitch, twitch.tv/favlam. I like to do lots of game shows. So not this week because I'm going to go out of town, but next week I do a series called Favlam Versus, where I take me and another streamer and we have like a 1v1 with 7 different games, and a loser gets punished. And then this other series that I've been doing called the Mario Party Favlam Tour. It's basically a giant Mario Party tournament with 16 different streamers. And every time they lose a mini game, we got to make them do some silly ranges from putting an egg on their head, taking shots of alcohol, but they can also win things like an Elgato Stream Deck. So if it's a time, yeah. And the very last thing is we're gonna do it in person. It's gonna be fun. So, but if you follow anything though for me tonight, follow my podcast, the Boosted View podcast. It's a Nintendo podcast. We like to review new games that come out, but also go back through series and look at old games and give them a retrospective review. An episode comes out tomorrow on Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So
Nice.
that sounds like
Mm.
your cup of tea. It should be out around 2 p.m. EST, and it's also got a guest episode person on there, and yeah, that's my stuff. But yeah, go follow the Boost You podcast.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. Let's go over to Andres Restart. What you got going on, bud?
Lots of things are going on.
I know. We just recently started chatting again after like not talking for like 6 months, or not 6 months, 2 months.
Oh.
I really feel like outside of the podcast, we stopped chatting for a while.
I don't. It
It
comes and
happens.
goes.
Dude, life.
It goes.
Yeah.
We got really busy. It happens.
My dad sometimes is like, "Do you not love me anymore?" I'm like, listen,
Yeah,
dude, I'm just busy,
you know.
man.
It happens.
I love my dad. I have a great relationship.
Hey,
with
your
my dad. He's
your
my-
video's
he is-
picking up a little bit. Over 4K views on that bad
I'm
boy.
glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
He's
brought up
crazy.
this flop of a video.
It's crazy at the very
It's
beginning.
about to pass your video yesterday if it hasn't already on the back end.
Sure. So it's not. It's all relative, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I was hoping
You were hoping it'd be 47K, like the last
by
one.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, like your
Yeah.
last
So I mean, this was my big video for the week. Like I try to make a video almost every day, but I also try to have like a big video that I spend more time on.
Yeah.
This is that video. This video was sponsored. I waited time. Like this is actually a pretty important sponsor for me, right? So it could mean like a bigger partnership later down the road. So this video being successful is more important than any other prior video. And for my Zelda Theory videos, it's actually performing worse than any other in the last few months. But it's still doing good.
But it's still doing good, and if it keeps at it.
And if it picks it up, right? So
Yeah.
basically, if you like Tears of the Kingdom and you've beaten the story, or at least you've beaten the Tears of the Dragon Quest, check it out.
I have. Ooh, I
Check
should
out
watch
It's in
it.
my
then.
watch later playlist.
I should watch
Yeah.
it then.
I have
I've
notifications on for
beaten
you.
that part.
I always hit watch later because I'm
Okay.
always doing something. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, but I basically it's explaining how time traversal works in Tears of the Kingdom. There's a few different angles we go at. I spent some time on it. I think it's a good watch, but let me know if it's not. But checking it out, I'd very much appreciate that. But yeah, Andreas Restart.
Yes.
I'm done
Hell yeah.
advertising me. Make sure to subscribe to Nish Quick Pops and follow Flam. And also unsubscribe from Nintendo Prime. No.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Here's the thing,
This man.
I'll make a bunch of
look,
burner
look.
accounts. And
We're at
stuff to be made.
132,015 subscribers. It is entirely possible the 15 of you, 16 of you, sorry, go unsub right now, and we see the infamous 131, which I've been trying so hard to off-put. I will say, the last 100 lost subscribers, when it finally happens, I have delayed it as long as I can, because before that we were losing like 100 a day or 50 a day. This has taken like 6 days to get down this low because I keep trying to do extra things to boost the subscribers, and for a brief moment we'll gain. Like it'll say tomorrow morning, I'll wake up, it'll be like, oh, you're at 132,022. 2 hours later, you're at 132,005. Shit.
Sometimes
Time to do something to boost the channel.
Sometimes I think
My
sub-watching
Twitter is
Give
growing
away.
faster than my
Give
channel,
away.
which is what
And Twitter's now maybe dying? Question.
I don't know. I'm on the new platform. I'm on them both.
Are you
It
on
is what it
Threads?
is.
I'm
I'm on
I got that
Threads.
Follow me on
I'm
Threads
on that
too.
Threads.
I'm on there.
I'm
I
on
kind of
Threads.
like Threads. I won't lie. I think it's
Nintendo
got a
underscore
shot.
Prime. It's missing a lot of features, but they're promising a lot of features, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
I think it'll get
I'm just there. If Twitter dies, cool. Then I guess I'm on the new Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah,
Twitter's not gonna
exactly.
die.
I just want to see the Elon and Zuckerberg war. Or
Well,
the
I mean,
boxing
they're
match.
already gonna like fight. at
They're
some
already,
point.
like,
Yeah, I want to
suing
see the
each other.
boxing match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gonna add more fuel to when they actually, because that fight is actually being planned. And I sat there, I'm like, and now he's suing him. This is gonna be great. There's gonna be
That's
so
why
much
I'm
bad
so
blood
excited.
when they go
stakes are
fight each
higher
other.
now.
I feel like
Zuck's gonna
Yeah.
kick his ass, and this isn't me being a Zuck guy, dude. Zuck is. If you guys seen what this guy does, he is
An
built, dude. He is built right
Yeah.
now.
he is.
Like Elon is so
younger.
out of shape.
Elon's
Yeah, he's
built like a
bigger,
barrel.
dude.
Yeah.
Zuck is
Yeah.
out there winning, like, I don't know if it's taekwondo or some sort of tournaments. He's out there winning and getting golds
Yeah.
in, and like Elon looks like he hasn't worked out in decades.
Years.
So like, yeah, Zuck is short, but Zuck is gonna kick his ass.
Hike can play a lot though.
Which, by the way,
mean,
I kind of want them to kick each other's ass I
Yeah,
want them to both end as
they-
bloody pulps
a-
on the ground.
like
That'd
a
be sweet.
Sakura and whatever,
Yeah.
where they both punch each other and they both fall at the same time.
But
Yeah.
like legitimately, Zuck does fighting. Like he legitimately does it. So I'm just like, this is just
Mhm.
yeah. Anyways, but by the way, Zuck is really, really short. Like it's a pretty big height advantage, but height's not everything when you're in a fight. So, anyways, Niche Quick Pop. So you got going on? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at NicheQuickPops. I recently changed my handle, and of course, you can find me on Threads at NicheQuickPops, and of course on YouTube at NicheQuickPops. And yeah, let's see. Right now, I am 69 subscribers. If I did my math right.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
From 1K,
Nice.
and
Let's do it. Come on.
yeah, it's very exciting. I got a lot of cool stuff coming out.
I mean, I can get you those subscribers in an instant. I could just do a quick giveaway on Twitter and mention they got to follow your YouTube channel.
It really takes
Cool.
that.
Literally, I
Right.
could give away
Really
like a
that
$5
easy.
eShop gift card. No, Twitter's insane with giveaways because
Yeah.
they don't have the rules like YouTube does. So literally, I could be like, "Hey, to enter this, you need to retweet, you need to like, and you need to go subscribe to Niche Quick Pops, and you will just instantly get like 2,000 people." It's insane.
But yeah, I do have.
Speaking of that's how I stopped losing subs.
Yeah.
What am I
I'm about to
doing?
say,
Yeah.
I got to farm Twitter fake
just
subs.
do it. Just do like a $10 gift card. We literally do that for every episode of our podcast. We're like, if we get over this many likes, we'll give away a gift card.
Yeah.
Damn it,
But
guys!
I have,
Guys, if this one gets over 1,000 likes in the next 2 minutes,
$10.
I'll give away a $100 gift card. Let's go.
$10 right for you.
There's only 89 watching, so I don't think it. Corey, if you're watching, you spin up the bot. I'm gonna slap you in the face. I don't need to get banned.
I'm gonna be that guy though and just say that I like just natural growth.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
natural.
I
don't know.
my
I
honestly.
don't think I personally don't know if I
Yes,
plan to do
farm
giveaways,
Twitter.
but I mean, I'll see.
The
But-
only thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, future content, I don't know, like, Zelda stuff, Xenoblade stuff, that's what I talk about the most. I remember last time I was here, I was saying, like, hey, this was in April, and I was like, I hope to talk about some Persona 3 stuff, because Persona 3 is going to happen, and it wasn't even announced then, and now it's announced. It's unfortunately not coming to Switch, but I'm still talking
That we're
about
aware
it.
of.
I love Persona, so if you enjoy Atlas stuff, I'm going to be talking about Atlas stuff on my channel as well. I also have a Switch 2 video that came out today. Did decently well, but you guys should check
Any
that
hate?
out.
Any
Yeah.
hate? No hate?
Oh, what?
No hate?
No hate.
No
No
hate
hate.
as of
It's
now.
doing
The
well for
comments
him.
seem good. I have only gotten one dislike so far, so
Wow.
looks to be
Guys,
alright.
go subscribe to Niche Quick Pop so we can start getting more dislikes.
Yeah. I want to see some. I see toxicity on my Xenoblade videos because the fan base is, you
Yeah.
know. But
It is what it is.
where's the
Yeah.
Switch 2 like stuff?
Where's the
But yeah,
Switch 2 haters? Let's go.
Yeah.
We don't want another console. I don't want nothing. That's it.
Come on. I got
Yeah.
19 dislikes on my video today. He's got to have more than me.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I mean,
with you?
dislikes help with the algorithm.
it doesn't
It's somewhere.
literally doesn't matter when it comes to the
Does it
algorithm
really?
at
Wait.
all. It doesn't.
Yeah,
hurt it.
it still gives impressions. I think. Does it
Yeah,
not?
no. So what
Huh.
what the algorithm likes is interactions. It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
it's a like or dislike. It'll still
Like,
help the
dislike,
algorithm.
comment.
No, your mental health is one thing,
Oh, yeah.
but the algorithm doesn't give a crap if it's a dislike or a like.
yeah, so
Some
the
of my
way-
most viewed videos have like 1,000 dislikes.
Yeah. I'm very
But, like,
against
200,000
YouTube
views.
taking it away. I almost said Nintendo, but yeah, YouTube taking it away feels weird. I would want people to see.
Next time, a topic. If we controlled
what it is,
YouTube,
yeah.
what's one change we would?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I think it's important to have it. I'm okay with it being hidden just because I think there are people who do the dislike bombing, and that sometimes it's just. I mean, why?
It still
Well,
happens.
why are you using your 10
Yeah.
Google accounts to make it look worse than it is? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I found interesting was that they said the reasoning was obviously creator mental health, and I sat
Because
there and
we
I'm like,
could-
but you realize
we'll see
we
it.
are just checking the back end and still see.
Still see it.
So like,
Right.
And,
I
and
guess
I'm
the
just-
idea
you
is-
know,
it's-
it's not public, but how many times have you talked to me like, dude, the like to dislike ratio is a little wonky on this video? I'm like, It still affects the mental health. They didn't fix
By the
that
way,
part.
I complain about this, but like
It's really not bad at all.
I have no reason to complain.
No, you
right?
don't.
No, like I think 90 is considered to be good, and I'll like, hey, Liz, this one's a 95. Oh my god, what did
Yeah.
I do?
It's
Yeah, I
because
remember-
you see your channel average as well, and that kind of
Well, I
gets
sat
to
there.
you.
They're like one of my Zelda videos that had like 60K views had like an 85%, and I was like, oh man, that's pretty bad. That's bad. Then I click on the stats, and I'm like, oh, but it gave me 1,200 subscribers. What the fuck am I caring about then?
Well, I mean, think about
Goodbye,
it like this.
15%, because
Whenever
holy
there-
shit.
Whenever there's a presidential election, it's like what 45, 55, 50, 50, like 52, like 48,
Yeah.
like so like the country's split in half, right? So I mean, I would say on YouTube, if you're split in half, something's definitely weird going on.
Yeah, that's
here.
probably not
But-
good. That's
But
probably not
point
good.
is that people have
50-50 all the
opinions, right?
time is not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you want to see people disagreeing because that means you're reaching a larger audience. More
Yeah.
people are there.
Yeah.
And I think having discussion and having different opinions is, is valuable.
One-sided arguments aren't fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, living in an echo chamber sounds cool for a while, and then you get bored really quick when everyone just agrees with you. Like
Yeah.
a huge reason, like I build the podcast the way I do with some of my regulars. Like when I have Eric on here, dude, he'll just call me a dumbass if he thinks I'm a dumbass, but also he's a little bit of a yes man. So then I have Andres Restart ready to just put me in my place any second, anytime. You got no problem. You didn't let me get away with shit. And then if
What?
I have Jake Randall come on, he'll just straight up. You'll just straight up have the quote at the ready with a source link to drop to own my ass. It's great.
Whenever Jake's on the
Damn.
podcast, it's always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Those are
does. I
always
don't think he
fun.
can go through a podcast without laying into me, and it's great. That's just our relation. It's just what we do. Like when I
Yeah.
was in Boston hanging with him,
2 inch
dude.
to
I
swear.
talked so much shit to him. It was great.
Nate, were you at PAX?
Yeah, Paxies. Yep. So was Andres.
I was also there. Oh man. Well, now I have a bunch of new friends to meet at next year's PAX.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I
Hopefully.
don't know if I'm going back. Jake
No.
keeps begging me to come back, and I
It
said,
was-
Jake, I don't know, man. How about you
it
come
was-
here?
It was very expensive.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, PAX West sounds like the one.
Yeah.
Nintendo
especially
Live,
Nintendo
you
hit
get
that
an
and
invitation.
Nintendo Live.
Did any of y'all get an invitation?
I
to
didn't
Nintendo
even
Live?
try because I was like,
I
I'm not
got
gonna get in.
declined.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so, and I
didn't
told
even
my
bother.
friend who wasn't gonna apply for it, she got it, and I'm so mad for it. I was like, no, damn it.
Nice.
Can you still apply?
No, it's over. It's been
No, it's
applied and
over. So
everybody
the only
is
potential
scrambling.
way to still get in is Nintendo mentions on their website that they are
yeah.
still trying to work out something with PAX. But it sounds like the reason that it's not just everyone that goes to PAX to get in is because that's too many people.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if they're trying to figure out a premium pass or if they're just kind of figuring, hey, if you have a media badge, maybe we'll let you come in. I
can see
have no
that.
idea how they're handling that
I mean,
because
if
like,
that
I can get
happens,
media
maybe-
badges, but
If
I'm
that
not
happens, maybe I
going.
would go to PAX West. I mean, it would have
Yeah.
to be, more like it would be like bro. It was a work occasion. We worked more when we went to PAX East. It was crazy. Like Nate and I would get back and like, all right, I guess we're staying up all night working on making videos. Yep.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it was networking
cool.
and videos, and it actually it
then-
kind of worked out in the end, which was
And then
sweet. And plus, getting to hang out with some friends, we did a couple things, but it was, yeah, man, like it's intense. I would. The only reason I'm going to say I'm not going to go to PAX West, no matter what, I say this if they confirm a system's there, and I message my MCN and
Yeah,
says it's
it's
still
not
too
gonna
late.
happen.
Is it still too late? Because I'm going. But that would be the only thing that would maybe push me over, saying screw it, I'll find the budget. Is that I'm paying off that cruise like $500 a month for next year, and I'm technically going to California like the week after PAX for a wedding for a friend.
maybe you should.
So it's kind of like I don't just stay for 2 weeks, just come early and stay for 2 weeks.
The fun thing about being a YouTuber is you technically can work from wherever you want.
I know.
Just
My
not
work
when you-
travels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know if I can
It
go to
depends on how
PAX.
portable your setup is.
Oh,
But
I
yeah.
don't think I can go to PAX because I have to. I have a trip that will have me outside the country, and I don't think I return until the 1st. Which technically, I think it starts on the 1st.
You just return to there.
Someone said this is a long
You change
outro.
the flight. You change the flight. You return
yeah,
to there.
but I don't want to leave my cat alone for that long.
We're just,
Not
we're
alone.
just
She wouldn't
shooting
be
the shit
alone,
now at
but-
this point.
Yeah.
It's
It is what it is. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for the Nintendo Prime Podcast. This was season 2, episode 27. You can listen to this podcast anywhere podcasts are heard. We'll be everywhere. The audio version will be up literally the day after the video version. If you're listening to the audio version, hey, just so you know, our podcast is actually live on YouTube on the Nintendo Prime YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Central Time until, I don't know, 3 hours after that or so every single Wednesday. Usually this one was technically on a Thursday. Got pushed because it was my birthday this Wednesday. That being said, thank you guys so much for being here. Go subscribe to everything we linked down below. And yeah, if you want to support the show, patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. Catch you guys later.
Also subscribe.
Later,
to Nintendo
guys.
Prime.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Unsub
Later.
from Nintendo Prime.
Don't
Do
do
it.
it.
Unsub from Nintendo Prime, guys.
Make me cry. I legitimately might shed a tear if I wake up to 131.
Not gonna happen.
Don't do it.
It's
Don't do it.
weird. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Y'all.